All right, and we are live.
Yo.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Fresh Fit Podcast. We're here with Rollo Tomassi.
Yes.
Father.
We're going to be talking about, does body count matter? Surprise. It does. We're going to get into it. Let's go.
We are back.
We are back, guys. What's up? Welcome to the Fresh Fit Podcast, regular edition.
Can you see me? Hopefully.
We can now.
Yeah. Hopefully, you guys can see
some more
Fresh,
contrast.
man. As usual, he's so dark that it's difficult to light him up. It's easy to light up Rollo, though, with all this light.
That's right.
There you go, the angel.
Well, I told you I was going to wear a white T-shirt for tonight's show with the girls, so like maybe I'll disappear, and you wear a black T-shirt, and you'll disappear.
There you go. Contrast.
There you go,
Welcome
man.
back, man.
So a quick announcement, guys, before we get into today's show. Patreon.com/FreshFit. Check us out over there. Get all the behind-the-scenes content. Also, go ahead and pick up our boy Rollo Tomassi's book, The Rational Male.
Yes.
It's Amazon. Link is below. And also, guys, get the merch. FreshFitPodcastStore.com. And what else? We have a new YouTube channel called Fresh Fit Shorts.
Yep.
We also got Fresh Fit Clips.
Spotify.
Anchor. Link below if you guys want to listen to us on there. Chris, are we still we're uploading on Anchor like a couple times a week? Yeah. Okay. Someone DM me today. Are we going to put up an episode for them or? Yeah. Okay. And Chris with ambiguous answers.
Yeah,
we're fine.
We got it covered.
Yeah, but we got y'all. Don't worry.
Vlog channel, Fed channel.
Yeah, check out the Fed at 18.
I have my channel. I do have an NFT that's going to be available May 1st. We've pushed it back 1 month because we have so many people that want to get on it right now. We're on Discord. And if you've seen my Wednesday shows, I've done 2 of them with Rocky Savo and Kevin Savo. We had Charlie from Cultivate Crypto was on with us as well. And we're doing a RedPill NFT. We'll talk about that later, but just letting everybody know it's out there.
NFTs are the future, man.
Yep, and it's RedPill Lions, right?
Yes, redpilllions.com.
Okay, cool. So, guys, sorry for the delay, by the way. We were doing a little bit of research, making sure we had all our stuff ready to go because today's going to be a very important episode. And we'll get right into it. So, okay. So the other day, right, let's go down memory lane. At the end of last week, someone had sent me a video.
A supporter.
And there's this woman, this girl.
Man of harpoons.
Yeah.
Woman.
Hey, we're not going to do ad hominem attacks
You're
unlike her.
You're right.
We're not going to roast her. So we're going to attack her
child.
argument and not her. Her name is Drew Afualo or something like that. Afualo, right? And I went and I looked at her TikTok. Everyone's been sending me this girl's stuff. She's been making, videos on us, on Rollo, people in the sphere, whatever it is.
Donovan, too.
And Donovan. Basically, doing the same typical, TikTok rhetoric of these guys are toxic, these guys are dumb, misogynist, blah, 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 right? And a lot of the time she's in her car reacting to one of our videos. She does a cackle, doesn't really attack the point, makes ad hominem attacks, and that's about it. So one of the videos she made actually is one where she critiqued Rollo, and she talked about body counts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she did not attack the argument at all. She was more concerned with what you were wearing than what you were saying,
right?
As usual. And we're
my greasy ponytail, I think, is what it was.
Yes, greasy ponytail. Right. Yes. So we're gonna go ahead and play this clip for you guys, and we actually have an entire show ready for y'all as far as body counts, with data, statistics, and proof. Man, that guys, sexual promiscuity does affect women negatively, despite what mainstream media wants to tell you. Okay, I always say social constructs don't adhere to reality. Social constructs try to tell you, no, a girl could be open and sexual and do whatever she wants. Reality tells you they can't handle it and or sustain it for long periods of time. And we have a bunch of evidence to show you guys. So unlike her, we're not going to attack her personally. We're going to attack her arguments. Okay. So let's go ahead and pull up this TikTok, Chris, real quick. It's
bring it.
H3 trolls, basically.
Wait. Let's not put on 5-year mode though. Okay. All right. So this is a TikTok here, guys, where I saw this TikTok and I hit up Rollo and I said, bro, we need to do an episode on this on body counts, because there seems to be this trend right now on TikTok and in how do I say this, female run social media platforms,
Twitter,
where they try to Twitter as well, where they try to sit here and say, well, these guys over in the sphere are RedPill or whatever, these guys are all a bunch of angry misogynists and they're bad because they can't get laid. Like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. It's my body, my choice. Hey, listen, man, it is your body and your choice, but all we do is we bring to light that there's going to be consequences for having your choice. You know, for every action there is a reaction, but we live in a world now where people don't want to admit that there's certain things that when you do, certain things that you do, that there's going to lead to some negative ramifications. And unfortunately, promiscuity and sex is one of those negative things for women. It's a double standard that they don't like to acknowledge. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest, I can't think of a double standard that men benefit from that women don't. But besides this one, I don't know if you guys can think of one. I don't know.
No, and I have done podcasts specifically on double standards. I have gone down the list of quote unquote double standards. And when we talk about double standards, the only double standard in the female vocabulary is how come guys can go and have sex with as many women as they want and they're superheroes, but if a girl does it, she's a slut, right? That's a double standard. So the premise, of course, on that is that there are other double standards. In fact, there are far more double standards for men than there are for women, okay? Because men have a burden of performance. Just mathematically, it's easy to figure out. But the fact is the reason why we even have the conversation about what's a double standard, what's not a double standard, is because we presume blank slate equalism, because we think that, well, what's good for the goose has to be good for the gander, an equal and opposite reaction. No, that's not how human beings work. There are differences between us, and sometimes it sucks to be a guy, and sometimes it sucks to be a girl, and sometimes it's fucking awesome to be a guy, and sometimes it kind of is really awesome to be a girl as well.
Yeah.
So,
but look at the culture, look at the music, look at people that talk about things in social media, in real life. They don't ever mention women promiscuity being a problem, and as a result, they think it's okay. And look, Lil Durk had an interview recently where he said his girl had a low body count, and that's why he chose her. Why is that?
And they try to drag him for saying that.
Yeah, but it's
like there were so many girls in there dragging and trying to say, okay, as if like your body don't count, don't matter. And it goes to show you how brainwashed society is. And so let's play this clip real quick, guys.
Yeah.
Because we got 4 things that we're gonna go over, guys, and there's sub points on it. Okay. We're gonna go over. Yeah. We're gonna go over just so you guys know data, pair bonding, women's sexual selection, and why women don't want men to consider their sexual powers.
Don't mess with the bull, young lady. You'll get the horns.
So, okay. So let's play this video.
Nice. I wear Yeezys.
What was that?
Oh, no sounds?
No sound?
Oh.
Hold on.
Let's see.
I got it.
1 2 1 2. Oh no, it's
no, you got echo cancellation. That's fine. That should be good.
All right, you can play again.
Yeah, you got to play the beginning.
From the top. I get you, Chris.
Or
All right.
Sexual partners that a woman has had,
There we go.
the higher the incidence of divorce, the higher the incidence of marital dissatisfaction, the higher the incidence of infidelity. I've got the stats to prove that.
So I've been sick with the flu for 3 days, so I'm gonna make this quick. First off, you look like every middle school band teacher ever. You look like you make your own trail mix. Do you wear Tevas? You seem like you would. You look like the dude who's digging through the trash at the beach all the time. Sick necklace. So fucking cool. Everything you're saying is dog shit for multiple reasons. The first being that there is no statistics backing up anything you're saying. That's not backed by science. That's backed by your own fucking prejudice. The irony is that every time men complain about women sleeping with a lot of men, they're never one of the men. So you're really just hating from outside the fucking club. You actually didn't provide any stats, but you were talking all that shit about pair bonding in the comments. And pair bonding really has nothing to do with all the shit you said in this video. Basically, pair bonding is a strong affinity that develops between couples that mate. But I read this study on human pair bonding. It talks about how it's not biologically feasible, human pair bonding, but recent studies have shown that women choosing which man to mate with played a crucial role in human evolution, and they only chose men that could provide for them, which led to an increased emphasis on provisioning males over male competition. So to translate for your dumb bitch ass, men had to prove they were worth shit for women to choose them. And now, fast forward all these years later, we're no longer Neanderthal. Women can provide for themselves. So you gotta do a whole lot more than just have a greasy ponytail and talk into a mic. I swear to God, y'all read one Reddit thread from Kevin Samuel, and suddenly you're a human biologist. Fuck your podcast, Grandpa. It sucks. Get back to the old folks' home, you balding bitch. Bye.
That laugh is annoying as
I
fuck.
was going to say, I'm going to make a sound drop of that laugh.
And you know what?
I am. I'm going to make a sound
crazy
drop.
part is, bro. If you had made a video bashing her on the way she looks, everyone would be running around going crazy, like, "Oh my God, you made fun of her for the way she looks." Blah blah. But unlike her, we're not going to go ahead and attack the way she looks or her laugh or this other. All she did was literally spend half the video making fun of the way you look and how you dress, instead of attacking the fact. Then she's saying, "Oh, you're outside the club hating." It's like, no, like we actually do have the stats. We're gonna go through them right now as far as why you are incorrect. So, okay, so you want to hit the data first?
Well, first and foremost, I just want to make sure that everyone knows that when you have all of 30 seconds, what is it, 45-second video?
Yeah,
that's the format today, by the way. So nobody watches the 2-hour full video. Nobody watches my live streams, like unless you're like a real diehard fan, unless you're part of my group, right?
Yeah.
And if you watch my full live streams, you will notice that I constantly use and cite sources. I talk about Tim Burkhead. I talk about David Buss. I talk about Jordan Peterson as well. I talk about Rob Henderson. Every single episode that I do, I come at you with stats, because that's what people are going to hammer me just like this in a 30-minute or 30-second clip to say he doesn't know what he's talking about. No, if you go and you watch the entire video, you will understand. Or hell, you don't even have to watch the entire video. Just watch the section, because I go and I make sure that there's chapter markers so that you can go and get to the section that is important to you. So that's why it's a common courtesy, right? So am I a high school biology teacher? No, I'm not. I'm Rollo Tomassi, and I've been doing this for over 20 years right now. So I think I would like to think I know what I'm talking about. And what I don't know what I'm talking about, I can go to Google, like anybody in this room can, and find the exact same stats that we're going to use today to show you why it is that women's sexual past, women's sexual history makes a difference. And it's not just guys sitting outside the club. It's not just angry MGTOWs or angry black pill guys. This is in your face all the time today. I did a show on Sunday, just sort of as a teaser, as a build up to today's show, because I knew we were going to really have to do, hammer our homework here. And it's like, we're doing like, doctoral theses on all this stuff too. So, I think I probably the best place to start. The best. What the hell is that?
Juicy juice. I don't know what the hell that was supposed to be.
Juice box fresh. So, anyways, I just wanted to start off with a couple of things here. One of the reasons, like the evolutionary reason why a woman's sexual past is important to guys, kind of like on this hindbrain subconscious level, is because we descended from men for whom it was very important to know what a woman's sexual past was. Who had she bred with before? Why is virginity something that is highly prized across cultures, across millennia of time, in every religion, particularly in the more patriarchal religions? Why is virginity highly prized? I don't know if you guys have seen these other videos out right now. I think somebody was showing me these in my Instagram, but it was this woman who was trying to make some sort of big public declaration about how she wasn't going to teach her daughter about virginity. Like, virginity is just a social construct. It's just something we made up. It's a product of the patriarchy, and virginity is not really a thing. It doesn't have any real definition or whatever. And I'm like, well, that is a term that has been created because it was reflecting something that was an objective truth. Why is an unspoiled and a virgin girl Why is that more valuable than a woman who wasn't? Well, there's a very simple evolutionary answer to that, which is, the baby's your baby.
Yeah.
That's why we had, emperors of dynastic China and the Forbidden City walling off, sections so that they could keep their harem, whatever we're calling it, to one side where he's the only one that's breeding with them, and it's guarded by eunuchs who they cut their nuts off so that they can't go and actually reproduce with them. Because like I said, there's three things that have defined powerful men over the course of history. That is resources, that is territory, and that is exclusive access to virginic women. Okay. It doesn't matter if you're a king. It doesn't matter if you're in feudal Japan. It doesn't matter if you're just a tribal chieftain in the Amazon rainforest. Powerful men are defined by those three things. And that third thing, when we're talking about women and exclusive access to women, the reason why that's important is because that powerful man wants to spread his seed. He wants to have more babies that are like him so that he can reproduce with his superior DNA and go out into perpetuity. Okay. I don't think this is like rocket science. This isn't something that you need a degree to understand. So that's number one. Number two is like when we look at men who are jealous, when we look at men's jealousy, when we look at, I don't want to say envy, but like jealousy, there's a difference between envy and jealousy, by the way. Jealousy in this case, when we talk about mate guarding, when we talk about possessiveness, and like women will always constantly complain about it, possessiveness in men, and say, oh, he's over, or he's clingy, that kind of stuff.
Or territorial.
Those are behavioral traits that are part of mate guarding behavior. There's a variety. There's a whole bunch of different behaviors that are mate guarding behaviors. But the reason why men get jealous, for different things than women do when it comes to like infidelity or suspecting infidelity, is because men are interested in paternity. Because up until about the 1970s, when we could, determine through DNA whether the child was genetically related to that man or not, we had to take a woman's word. That's why in Jewish cultures it's matrilinear. So the child in Ashkenazi Jews and Hasidic Jews and in that culture, it is a matrilinear religion because only the women know that that's the kid, right? That's the only reliable source. So the concept of paternity for men has been such an important imperative, because if you are getting cuckolded, we laugh about being cuckolded now it's kind of like this, joke kind of thing.
Like,
exactly. We turn that into a joke, but the reason why it's funny, or the reason why we use it as an insult right now, is because what we're really saying is your DNA is going to go extinct. That's more or less what we're saying when we call somebody a cuckold. And that right there, as far as cuckoldry is concerned, men have always been concerned with paternity. That's why kings have always been very concerned about like having a male heir. Emperors as well. And then that's also why we have a term like bastard. Like you're a motherless, fatherless child, right? You're a bastard child. The reason we have those terms is because paternity is so damn important to human males on planet Earth. We want to know that the child is ours. And that's really where all of this comes down to. The conversation that we have in the RedPill, that when the girls are here for an after-hour show or whatever, when we're talking about why is it that a woman's sexual past is important, what we're really talking about is paternity, and why is paternity important to men. And in the last, say, since the sexual revolution for sure, but from like say 1965 up to where we are right now, that paternity has been devalued and debased, and it's been shamed, and you're an insecure man if you are concerned with a woman's sexual past. If you are a stepdad versus being a biological father, we need to get dads back in the home, but we're systematically removing them from the home until that kid becomes a criminal. And then what's the first question we ask? Where's the father, right? That suddenly he's not so superfluous as you want to make him out to be. All of that goes back to one thing: paternity. Whose kid is it? And that's why this conversation is important, because paternity and the issue that we're talking about here, a woman's sexual past or her promiscuity, that kind of stuff, it all goes back, I should say, it's the root, let's just say, of a lot of other problems that we complain about constantly, or we get into and we try to sort out, like why is the marriage rate so low? Why is it that, like, I have guys all the time, you guys probably get it too, they'll ask me, Rollo, I want to have kids, but I don't want to get married, right? And I don't want a girl who's run through, or I want to go, I'm going to go out. How often do you hear that? I want to go out to Southeast Asia and find a nice virgin bride, or I'm a Muslim and I want 4 wives, but they all have to be virgin wives. Why? Why is that? Why is that even a thing? So what's my religion? Yeah, but there's a function to that religion. There's a point to it. There's a latent purpose to you wanting an unspoiled, unblemished woman. It's in the Bible, it's in the Torah, it's in the Quran, it's in all kinds of other religious texts. Why is a virgin woman more valuable than a non-virgin woman? I use the Bible story, like when Jesus is at the well and the Samaritan woman comes there, and he says, I know all about all the men you've been with, prior to this, and I forgive you your sins and living water and all that. And she says, and he says, the man that you're living with right now is not your husband either, right? Yeah. Well, was Jesus a misogynist for bringing that up, for being concerned with her sexual past? Is that
toxically masculine?
Is he being toxically masculine? Because that was very important, certainly to that culture at that time, and it's still important today. And we don't know why we feel bad about feeling bad about a woman's sexual past. Yeah. So we'll get into some more of the details as to why that's a thing. But to sort of preface this whole conversation, we have to talk about paternity and why paternity is so important to men.
Bam. All right. So I'll hit some of these super chats real quick, and then we'll get into the first part that we're going to talk about, which is going to be the data. But now you guys got a quick little preamble there as to why it is important. Chris Poxon Jr. Merch. Street Life Maxi merch gang Chris to go. Okay. And then we got $2 from Franklin. Say, get your how dare yous and misogynies ready.
There we go,
my friend.
How dare you? Yeah, we're gonna need the FBI.
Yeah, that one too. Never treat her like a lady. If she is a 304, recognize her for what she is accordingly. XLIX laws of Sharpe. Okay. Attention, gents. Class in session. Get out your pens and notepads. We got y'all. $10 from Reality Stone. Do you all think that with millions of men being shut out of the dating market, that governments will resort to legalizing prostitution? B, ultimately sexual frustration could lead to widespread violence? No, bros.
It's already legal.
It's already legal in some places, but
that's just by order degree. We're just changing the definition. It's already legal.
Kane EP, the Godfather and the Godson Rollo and Myron. Why do wives hate the relationship men have with their mothers? Don't worry. I think that's going to come up.
We can talk about that. Sure.
$10 from Al Boys. All the 304s who were calling Dirk and India's relationship their own goal. Their own goals and what they wanted to switch that real fast when he mentioned how low her low count. LMFAO, they're mad at high value men ain't wifing up. Yep,
that's very true.
And then we got last thought.
My boy, last thoughts. $20. Stop trying to end the show. Sorry, stop trying to end good shows. Sex when good discussions taking place. First rushing to end the show. If everyone's participating and not complaining about being tired, etc., just let it flow, guys. You guys can learn a lot. Yo, perfect example. Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate just went live earlier, right? What did they say in the live stream? We're ending the show. We're going to the club. So niggas, now you know. Fuck y'all niggas. Anyhow.
I'm out.
I'm out. Listen, we got shit to do, man. Listen. We give y'all our lives, bro. We're here every day at the same time for the most part, giving y'all content. If you want to leave a little bit earlier, we can, bro. Chill out, man.
Would you like to see how much work I did for all of this this entire show? I mean, this is my main
guys. Mic running right now. So but guys, it's moderation, guys. We can't keep burn out the girls when the girls show up and they expect 3 hours, 4 hours of debate. They have lives too. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
They got babysitters to pay. They got to get back home.
Stop mommies.
Stop mommies.
They got to be thought, man.
Stop mommies.
If she keeps a listener phone of guys, she has smashed run. Oh, that's bad. Sebastian, I can see Fresh, but now I can't see Rollo. Okay. Rollo,
I knew I should have wore white.
That's Moises Munoz. Franklin Sate trolls in the chat. LOL. Okay. Akeem Mujahid. Salam. Thanks to Rollo and the whole Fresh Fit fam for teaching a Muslim brother true female nature. These chicks are delusional on calling you misogynist, especially Myron, who is a former HI agent, risks his life to even defend your high body count ass. Peace from DE. Okay. Oh, I think he's Denmark, maybe Denmark.
Possibly.
Okay, because it's Euro.
Might be Germany. Deutschland. Deutschmarks.
You guys should
have on Bo Refek from Tribe of Men and Tribal Report.
Don't know.
I don't
I have no idea who that is.
Man, yeah.
I like that name. Though. I'm gonna
Kendrick
look it up.
Lamar. Karen on the last show, age fast. I was thinking I won't settle with a Karen. They look 60 at 30. Other girls of color looks better. I'm dabbling now. All right. I shared Rollo's book. Now I have no friends. That's from having fun.
That's funny.
You're not the only one.
Merab K. Y'all changed my life. Question Rollo. My friend is stuck on a BPD. His girlfriend that is cucking him despite me showing you his videos about BPD girls. Bro, just let him. You can't force people to change, bro. They're not.
There's a whole section about borderline personality disorder that's coming up in the 5th book, which, by the way, will be at the end of this month.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't change someone that's already in that scenario. They can only
bro.
learn from
I
example.
went into a lot more detail about that because that's one of the most common questions I get.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna be suckers, bro.
They gotta suffer.
Keem I am. Shout out to this power team. Got you. Demora
Kim.
Walker. Man, I just had to let things go with my girl because she wanted to go on a yacht with 3 or 4 friends, and I told her if she goes, she won't be with me.
Yeah.
And she said she's going. Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
She
man.
looked fresh.
Well,
she looked
she's
fresh and hero on the boat.
Well, to be fair, not every yacht party is like our yacht party. But that being said, good choice.
If she on the yacht, she got.
Yeah, bro. I mean, the fact that she picked the boat over you lets you know
Yeah,
exactly
man.
what
She should have
where you stand.
invited you, my boy.
Yeah,
Yep.
should have brought you
At
along.
least.
1 second.
It goes back to what I always say, bro. Girls want to act like they're single, but keep you back in the house so they have that security. That's how
Yeah.
the fuck they are.
Mhm.
Hessel 23. Roll the legend FNF on the way to $1 million. Thank you so much.
Thanks, bro.
Lex Flair, $5. Thank you so much. Playing with ball sack sound.
Stupid.
Got you. Question for Rollo: why do women want to be men so bad, from body count to language to
Ooh,
career, etc.?
we can
That will
talk
get
about
answered.
that. We will definitely hit that today.
Chris for the win. Peanut butter and henny mouth. Okay.
Shout out to you.
Venom. She got that Pillsbury Doughboy laugh. Okay. Fresh looks like he got laid off a Blockbuster.
It's funny. Today,
You win.
You know what's funny?
You win.
Best
Done the
part.
mark.
Today, I'm in my shirt, right? Damn. This shirt, I'm gonna get roasted for. I already know what time it is. But you know what?
That
Cookie Monster
nigga
to
is
the moon.
Cookie Monster, bro.
Cookie Monster to the moon. I don't care, bro. And my juice box.
Yo, chat,
Listen, man.
keep it going, chat.
Sesame Street days,
That
guys.
was
Sesame
good.
Street days.
Yo.
My nigga, hey, someone clip that,
Yo,
man.
people might not even know.
So
what
someone meme
Blockbuster
that.
Laid off
is,
from
man.
Blockbuster.
Yo, someone meme that, man.
Oh, man.
Yo, come on with it.
You do.
Yo,
They had them blue shirts.
I'm looking like a Squirtle. Water gun. Squirtle. Go.
Best spot looking ass, man.
Oh, shit.
Chris, I know you're not talking.
What do you mean I'm talking, man?
Peanut butter.
All right, nigga, you the host, nigga.
Peanut butter.
Oh,
This nigga's a host, man.
no.
You're a producer, nigga.
Oh man.
Wait, Chris, were you a teacher?
Yeah, I was.
All right.
No one cares.
Ezekiel Rivera. Myron Fresh, check your DMs from the Saint in the Center. Wants to see if you can put the word for him to get in contact.
Oh, we just-
yeah, I responded to
You
him.
responded, yeah.
I responded to him. Noah King. Thank you all so much for saving my life. I've been heavy binge watching your Money Mondays. My credit went from 580 to 690. Keep saving lives. All right. Albo Ace. I could smell TikTok 304. Dookie breath through the phone. She mad Rollo spit facts and is trying to belittle and make fun of him. Typical behavior. Exactly. And here's the thing, bro. We're not gonna sit here and make a whole video bashing her. We're just gonna attack her arguments, which, to be honest with you, are not true. Camino Kill 12. Thank you for saving men's lives. Appreciate it. And then Dania. Don Tomassi addresses dynamics that must be discussed. Absolutely. And then Dila, I think that's
my
Frank's
name.
right there. Is shaming the go-to insult for women? Yes, it is, my friend.
is.
When they can't attack
We'll
your
get to
argument,
that today
which you
too.
just did as well. Eccentric digital media. Been watching you guys since Mr. Organic. Been following him for a while, and I know he only talks to real ones. I'm learning so much from y'all. I wish I knew this years ago. I see my mistake being nice.
Show them
No
Mr.
problem,
Organic,
bro.
man.
Hey, man, at least you got it.
Three
So,
of 'em.
Yeah.
so as you guys know, quick little recap, okay? Because now we're going to get into the actual each point. But as you guys know, this show was inspired because we've been getting a lot of hate from people, to include this Drew woman, as far as
Right.
like a woman's past, promiscuity, and how body count does matter. Mainstream media will try to tell women and people in general that, oh no, woman's past doesn't matter, guys. It's okay. It doesn't matter what she used to do. It just matters what she is now. And it's like, no, guys, that is not okay. And you need to know a woman's past, because it's going to definitely affect your future. But if you say something like that, they're going to hit you with the goddamn
misogyny.
So we're here to give you guys the stats and the numbers as to why a woman's past does matter, guys. And a lot of you guys want to get married, you want to have a family, etc. You want to do it with a partner that's, number one, worthy, number two, not going to destroy you, and number three, is going to be fit for the journey of marriage. A lot of these girls are used vehicles, man. I'm just going to keep it all the way 1,000. They're used vehicles with 200,000 plus miles on it. They can't get you from New York all the way to California because their engine is fucked up. And you guys got to pick the right woman, aka the right car, to take that trip, which is what marriage cross country, and a lot of women are not suitable. And this is why you got people like Drew right here making TikToks, making ad hominem attacks against Rollo. Oh, that's not true. Blah 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 blah. It doesn't actually refute anything. And she mentioned something about pair bonding, which we're gonna debunk that as well, guys. Too. You have something fresh?
I was gonna say, imagine you spent your whole life, right, working on yourself, becoming a better man, business, all that stuff, right? You find a woman that's acting a certain way, you know, definitely showing signs of possibly being wifey type.
Yep.
And deep down, she's a 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And you know, you invest in her all this money and effort, spend his time, you marry her, give her kids, and then one day you find out your boy is like, yo, bro, this your girl? Yeah, she's my girl. That's my wife. Oh, that's your wife, my boy? Stupid. She was giving us how do you say it?
Gawk 3000, man.
3000 in the back many times, facials all the time. Everyone knows who she is. It's like, yo,
back in the days,
you're hurt because now you know she was 3 or 4 back in the day. And guess what? Now she's your girl. So it hurts, man.
Yeah. You guys, the thing is that, you know, it's okay for women to be extremely selective on the men that they want, have standards or whatever. But society's going to shame you for having standards. And let's be honest, guys don't ask for much. I just don't want you to be a fucking hoe. Yeah. And a lot of these girls are hoes and do not qualify for a serious relationship. And here's the other thing too, guys. If you marry the wrong woman, she will flip your life upside down. She will destroy you guys. Like marriage and relationships in general, men take way more risks than women do. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole institution, a whole government that will back a woman if things don't work out. They're not going to back you though. They're going to take the money from you.
It's quite the opposite, actually. Yeah, like we were talking about earlier when I was talking about, you know, promiscuity being sort of the overarching theme of all of this.
Yes.
If you if a child is switched at birth in the OBGYN and the NICU unit, right? If you switch a child out and you give a mother the child that's not hers, you know, like you've probably heard these stories, you switched at birth, right?
Yeah.
If that woman gets the child that is not her child and then later on discovers that the hospital screwed up or maybe it got ripped off and they tried to replace it with another baby, you know, essentially what it is, it's maternal birth fraud. Like this isn't really your kid, but you have to take care of it. It's your baby. No, it's not. In that case, there are so many legal recourses for women to, like, they can sue the hospital for millions. They can it makes a Lifetime movie series, you know, like Switched at Birth, right? They make a big deal of that. But if it's a guy who is cuckolded, if it's a man who like is he's not a stepdad, he's the dad that stepped up, right? If it's a man who is compromising his genetic interests in that child and he's cuckolded or it's birth fraud from paternity, then that guy, you can't sue the hospital. Matter of fact, you're still on the hook.
Yeah.
You still have to pay for child support for a child that's not yours. And depending on the state, all she has to do is put your name on the birth certificate. And if you don't contest it, you're on the hook for 18 years, whether the kid is yours or it's not.
And this is why this is so important, guys. So there's 4 things we're going to cover, guys. So the first one is going to be data. Second is pair bonding. Women's sexual selection is third. And then finally, it's going to be why women don't want you to consider their sexual past. So let's get the first one, which is going to be the data, guys.
Yeah.
Round 1. Fight.
Fight. All right. First and foremost,
you want to pull up that article? Or?
Yeah, let's pull. We can start with the Atlantic article. Is almost ironic considering it's coming from the Atlantic of all blogs right now. Atlantic is very much a pro-feminist, very gynocentric blog, very woke, very leftist. But even on that one, let me see if I can pull this up real quick. This is from 2018, I think it was. Fewer sex partners means a happier marriage. This is the Atlantic of all freaking places. Okay. Now what they're doing is, you guys can go read through this. I'm going to use their data sets here. The first one is the easiest one here is figure 2, and they're pulling this, by the way, from Institute for Family Studies. Which you want? Chris, just scroll down just a little bit. You'll see which there it is, right there. That one there. That data set right there. If you look at the relationship between sexual history and marital satisfaction, you can see.
Can you enlarge it, Chris, so that the people can see it a little bit?
I think I can see it. Hold on 1 second. Let me see.
You can see it.
Yeah, we can see it, but I just want to make sure that they can see it. It's large. So just enlarge it while we're talking.
Yeah. So, anyways, this is from the internet. This is Institute for Family Studies. Now they are drawing this from census data. They're drawing this from other research as well. So it's kind of it's a meta search, meta study. Okay. So, I mean, you could just look at this right here. You want stats? Here's stats for you right now. Okay. 1 partner versus, say, 21 plus partners. I find it interesting that they say, you know what, after 21, forget it. We're not even going to keep stats for that anymore. So we can look at this right here. And if you look at this as also this source that the Family Studies Institute is taking this from is the General Survey Study, which, by the way, is the same study that we quote all the time when we talk about the decline in sex when it comes to men between the ages of 18 and 29. It's the same study that was drawn from. Okay, so this is it's CDC, it's Census Bureau, Statista, it's these guys as well. So if you're going to like attack me on, what about the source? It's multiple sources.
Yeah.
So let's just
the same thing,
let's
which
put
is-
that
which
out
is
there
great,
right now. Okay, so if you look at this and you look at, okay, what is marital satisfaction? Because in her video she talks about like pair bonding. Okay, and we'll get to that point. Well, that's another kind of bullet point we have to cover here. But we have to kind of bring up what is pair bonding first, because what that is it's a misnomer. It's a mistake in terms. They're using a terminology that does not relate to the statistics and the principles and the ideas about male paternity, or why is a woman's sexual past important. This is one figure amongst four that we're going to talk about today. But if you look at, like, say, one partner versus 21 partners, I don't think it's rocket science to figure this kind of stuff out. Okay, this is also, by the way, this is from 1989 to 2016. So this isn't just like, oh, they just picked this stuff up, 10 years ago. No, this is a very long-term study that they've done. So we're going to look at some other stats here as well. This is just marital satisfaction. What is marital satisfaction? Is that pair bonding?
So
Is that happiness? What constitutes marital satisfaction? And again, this is self-reported by women who are in those relationships.
So as we can see, so the blue line, just so the people out there that are watching it, so they
Yes.
might not. So the blue line represents the
Women.
women,
Mhm.
and the yellow line represents the men.
Mhm.
And you can see that
6 to 10 partners is higher
yeah,
for men.
yeah. So there's a perfect, and you guys can see the little star there in between. So as you guys can see, sexual experience benefits men to a degree, while it hurts women from a relationship standpoint.
Mhm.
And so it looks like 6 to 10 partners seems to be the magic number as far as when
the drop off. Like, weren't we asked
women.
about that? Like, what's the magic number? Yeah. Okay.
On
Well,
the show, girls always ask, "What's that number that makes me a hoe?"
5.
For body count.
6, and you're pushing it.
yeah. So okay. So okay. So so it looks to be 4 and below, if I'm not mistaken, seems to be the best.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So
Well,
that's
let's be real here.
okay. So that.
But-
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, most girls won't qualify for that.
Some girls get 4 dudes in a
God.
day. If I'm gonna be
Well,
honest.
you have to
Oh, shit.
also, and by the way, what is it? The Institute for Family Studies is actually a pretty good resource, I think, for RedPill stuff, like for RedPill understanding. Now, a lot of people say, well, they're kind of like the TradCon or whatever. Yes and no, but I think that the sources, the research that they cite for their articles, if you look past those articles and you go look at the actual research, then you go, oh, okay, now I understand what they're saying. So you can sort of pick that. Most people don't have the I don't know, the interest or the patience to actually, maybe I'm stupid to do it, but like this is what I take interest in. So I'll go on, I'll check out the research that the aggregate sites are using as well.
So if someone is looking at this and wants like I guess a summary from 50,000 feet, it is once a woman hits about it looks like 6 partners or above, it starts to drop off quite a bit as far as like satisfaction in a marriage.
Yes. Okay. So let's can we get to the
that's the takeaway for y'all.
Can we get to the IFS link?
It's a green chart, right?
Yeah, well, you can go to those charts as well. There's I think I gave it to you. It's ifsstudies.
Okay, that's in the Telegram chat, Chris.
Yep, got it.
Okay. Yeah, the IFS studies is because that's where they're drawing this data from.
Yeah,
because I think people will say, well, they're just using one data point. No, there are like
multiple
dozens of data points.
And this is what these TikTokers are not going to tell you guys. They're not going to say
this you're not going to get this in a 30-second video. In between each line.
Is this it right here?
So that's this is the data set. That's fine. You can show that one out too.
No, we can do the other one if you want.
No, I got the site, but with this, let's go with this. We'll start with this right here.
Women who have more non-marital sexual partners are less likely to have stable marriages.
Right.
Here's
so
the chart here.
Again, marital satisfaction, marriage stability. Okay. What does that mean? Is that pair bonding? I ask again, is that pair bonding? If it's not, then we need to move on, and we need to define the terms of what we think is pair bonding, what we don't. I'm gonna destroy that here in just a moment, but we need to look at the data first.
Let us know. Okay, so Rollo, for someone that and Chris, can we enlarge it a little bit if we can?
Yeah,
might need to scroll down a little bit so they can see where it comes from.
Okay, so
source CDC.
Okay, so I can read it real quick. It goes. The title is go up to the top real quick, Chris. It goes, women who have more non-martial sexual partners are less likely to have stable marriages. Okay, let's scroll down there and I'll read the part and then we'll interpret the graphs. So this chart covers sexually active women over the age of 30. Women were defined as having a stable marriage if they were currently married and had been in that same marriage for at least 5 years. Women who had more non-martial sex partners, marital sex partners were less likely to have stable marriages. Over 80% of the women who had never had a non-marital partner were in stable marriages. By contrast, only 30% of the women with 5 non-marital sex partners were in stable marriages. So according to this one, it could be even less than 6.
So I ask, what is pair bonding? Is it stable marriages? Is that what it is? Because I want to know. Like somebody tell me what quote unquote pair bonding, because again, it's one of these abstract terms that we throw around. And maybe the red pill's to blame about that. Maybe I've never used pair bonding because I shy away from that, because when I read a book like Promiscuity by Dr. Tim Burkhead, I know the scientific definition of what pair bonding is, like when two like swans are on the lake and they pair bond for life, right? Or it's like some species of field mouse that stays together for life. Okay, that we can say that's monogamous pair bonding for life. Got it. Thank you very much. But do human beings do that? No, but we do get married.
Yeah.
We do have long-term commitments. It's supposed to be for a lifetime. Is that pair bonding? You tell me, because apparently we're trying to define terms. And again, can't really do that in a 30-second video between.
No. And the thing also is that I think people need, here on this side of the internet, we understand that pretty much pair bonding is like how do you say it? It's a placeholder term for people to know.
I don't use it. Honestly, I don't use it. I would much rather use marital satisfaction, right? Or happiness.
We might have to transition from that too, because people get confused. But when people use pair bonding in this side of the internet, 9 out of 10 times it means marital satisfaction.
We'll take on pair bonding.
Being able to be with a man in a monogamous relationship and not fuck it up, essentially, from the female perspective.
Let's move on to the next one. I've got
is there any, but just real quick for the people so they can interpret this graph. So can you scroll up real quick? Chris,
1 second.
Open it back up. So that people can kind of like understand like the numbers and the heights and everything else like that.
Yeah, no problem.
So they can read it. All right. Okay. So Rollo, can you tell the people real fast like how?
Well, okay. So this is you got to look at this in terms of the other 4 that we're going to look at as well. However, I will say this right now. So this is reports of marital stability. Okay, marital happiness, marital satisfaction, meaning like I'm glad I'm in this marriage kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so the more partners a woman has, the less satisfaction she reports.
Yeah.
And this has been going on, like I think this one started in 1995 and we're going all the way up to 2022 or 2020, I think. So when we look at 0 partners, I mean, it kind of stands to reason. If you don't know any better, you don't know what you're getting, you're probably pretty happy, right? It's ignorance is bliss. You've never had the benchmark for your sexual experience is the guy you married.
Okay, you can't miss what you never had.
Exactly. So
and look at that, dude. 80.47 with 0 partners. So if you marry a virgin,
now here's the kicker though. How many women in, let's just say, Western, industrialized nations, societies have 0 partners?
Nope.
How many?
Well, the girl from last night, actually.
Well,
the black girl from last night.
Bro, she was still in the car saying, "Oh, I'm a virgin." I'm like, bro, no, you're not.
Bro,
but here's devil's advocate though. They're gonna say, Rollo, Myron, Fresh. Hold on a minute. If I have experience with different partners, that means I know how to choose the right one though. Because if I have no experience, then I don't know. Yeah. So what's your take to that devil's advocate?
I mean, and that goes back to, again, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Like we're presuming that men and women are equal. So a man who has had a lot of sexual partners tends to be the kind of man that other men want to be and other women want to have sex with. I think it was Sterling Cooper who said, if you know your way around a woman's body, there's no higher demonstration of higher value than knowing that you know how to please a woman. Well, how do you know how to please a woman? Because other women have rewarded you with sex. You've been high value enough for them to want to get with. Yeah. And so therefore that makes confidence, that makes experience. And so a guy who has had more sex partners tends to be somebody who is a little bit more, let's just say worldly, I guess, and knows his way around a woman's body. Okay. Now, should that be like the benchmark and the metric by which we measure that guy's, self-worth? Well, it's certainly one of them. Certainly part of all of that. But I think that people think that when we talk about this, that's all we're focusing on. Well, if you're not getting laid, then you're not a man, right? Well, yeah, but that's part of a greater whole. So when I say, you know, women want to be with the man who other men want to be and other women want to bang. Okay. So the part where we're talking about other men want to be, yeah, you've got to have your shit together. You got to have, you know, interests. You've got to be intelligent. You've got to be on top of your game money wise, money, muscles, game, right? Frame, right? That whole frame side of that thing. That's the whole package. And part of that package is knowing how to deal with women, knowing women's nature, knowing how to, you know, be in a sexual relationship with them, knowing how to go from attraction all the way to, you know, intimacy with her in bed, right? That's part of that collected whole.
And look at this. The scary part is like, look at how it drops off precipitously after 0. Like it just it goes down and down and down, and you know, and we're up to 21 plus. You got a 20% chance. Like, god damn, bro.
You know, I did not put this. I didn't say this on last Sunday, and I meant to. Is that you look at that right there, and that's after one previous lover.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had one guy, and then you married her, right? Now, guys will say this all the time. Well, I don't want to get with the girl who's run through. I don't want a girl who has a 10 body count. I don't want to. You guys ask the girls on here all the time.
I would argue that most women in today's day and age,
what do you think the average is? What do you think?
That's what I was gonna say. By the time a girl's 25, I would argue they're somewhere in that 6 to 10, all the way up to 21 plus range.
Dude, I can remember. I think it was in June. I think it was in June or maybe it was August when I was here, and I was doing the after-hour show. And there was that really attractive 19-year-old girl that was sitting next to me, and she said she had 15 body count.
Yeah.
At 19 years old.
Yeah.
God damn.
And let's just get this out in the open because I know what people are going to say, right? Well, that's just Miami. That's just the ratchet ass bitches that you bring on this show. That's just it's all demographics, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but let's also remember that we no longer live in a localized sexual marketplace. We live in a global sexual marketplace. So even if you're living in, I don't know, Butte, Montana, or, you know, Oklahoma or something like you're
Connecticut.
Connecticut. You're living with some farm girl, right? Somewhere in the Midwest. Okay. That woman is just as hypergamous as the girls that are right here. Okay. They manifest it and they opportunize it and they capitalize on it different than the girl in the Midwest. Yes. Yeah. But they are still beholden. The machine doesn't change. So contextually, well, she's not really a hoe because she's only had 6 lovers before me. And I wouldn't want to be like that 19-year-old girl that was on Fresh and Fit who had 15 at 19. Right. And we go, okay, fine. But the mistake and the thing that most guys don't think about is it's not a numbers game. It's an alpha impact game. We can see that right here in those statistics right there. So if it's even one other guy that came before you, if that dude out alphas you, if that was her alpha widow, if that's the guy she pines for, the one that got away when she's in her epiphany phase, then it doesn't matter whether she was with 10 or with 1. If that guy still is the one that she's still pining after at that point. So it's not so much now. Granted, let's also put this caveat in there. If a woman has 10 prior lovers to you, the odds of her having one of those guys being the alpha widow, that's a lot higher than if it's just one guy.
Yep.
So you have to look at things in terms of like statistics and you have to look at like context and everything else. So it's not so much about the numbers as it is about the alpha impact of her previous lovers.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, experience benefits men, but it destroys women. And I know that sounds terrible.
And that's just the way it is. And that's evolutionarily, like, that's just the way we are. That's just the mechanics of the machine.
It is, you know.
Well, women are the vulnerable sex and men are the disposable sex. Eggs are expensive, sperm is cheap. That's not rocket science.
Yeah,
it's a curve this fucking high. Yeah. Why can't you get over that?
Yeah.
It's you don't need scientific studies to figure that shit out. It's just common fucking sense, which I guess we can commercialize right now.
Yeah. Common sense is not so common anymore. I will say this real quick. Did you want to pull up another one, or
we can just rifle through the rest of these. There's like 3 more that correlate with that, and then we can get to super chats.
Okay, cool. Let's do that.
And so that's that
guys,
one.
Do me a favor, like this video because ain't nobody else gonna break this stuff down in this detail on the internet for you guys.
Once again, so read that for me, Fresh. I got my glass.
We got percent of sexually active women age 15 to 44.
Okay, scroll up a little bit. I think this is the.
I think that's it.
non-marital sexual partners, and this was for relationship of lifetime, marital sexual partners, and depression. This was the incidence of depression.
Okay. This one's a good one.
And it's a really good one. Damn it, I should have gave you the stats. I've used this 1,000 times, but the spike in SSRI use in women who are like,
and for the people out there, what's a SSRI?
SSRI is antidepressants.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's funny is that this chart here almost exactly correlates with that. So if you have 0 partners, it's like 2.8%, incidence of depression. And if you look at the 21, actually, if you're at 20, you're at the highest. If you have 21, you probably don't give a shit anymore. So
typical.
Where's the wine?
Wait, girls say I can just fuck for fun. It don't matter no more.
Yeah,
that's why you have partners. It don't matter.
Yeah.
So once again, higher incidence, higher body count, higher incidence of depression. I just work here, man. I just work here. All I'm doing is reporting the news. Women, you make the fucking news.
Yeah.
Right?
There's another study also that shows that 1 in 4 women is walking around on antidepressant or anti-anxiety medication.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That was the one I was telling you about. That tracks with this here.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one. I think there's 2 more.
Okay.
So that was depression.
So from 0, you got only 2.8, and then it just shoots up once you pass. I
have them right here, actually.
After it looks like after 4, it starts to shoot up. After 5, actually, just shoots up.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Video just dropped just now. Say cheese saying fresh and fit. How many bodies is too many for a woman?
Too late.
Chris, if you want to bring it up, it's funny as hell.
I mean, just put it in the chat on Telegram.
All right. So okay, let's keep going. So
we got to, let's see, we got to higher divorce rates, we got to depression. Let's move on to the next one here.
Yeah. So
Scroll down. Which one is that? That
percent
is
of sexually active women aged 15 to 44.
Relationship between personal happiness and the number of lives. So personal happiness, that's I guess that kind of goes towards low marital happiness or again stable marriages. Once again, is this part of the whole thing when we're talking about like we did divorce rates first, then we did depression. This is reporting of low marital happiness, or what researchers, demographers anyways, would call marital stability, I think is what it should be. So that's as you can see, it declines with the higher the body count, the less that women report as being sort of in a happy, stable relationship. Now, again, is that pair bonding? You tell me. Does this mean that women are less happy in that state where they are of committed, legal, monogamous relationships? Is it marriage? What is it? So when we can define, we'll get to this a little bit later here when we talk about pair bonding, but is that pair bonding? Is marriage pair bonding? Because it seems to me like if there's going to be a definition for pair bonding, that's probably going to be
the best one,
right? So
and typically that's what we refer to when we're talking about like being in a serious relationship and or marriage with a girl, or pair bonding in general. It's a serious relationship with a woman, whether it's marriage or long-term,
maybe it's long-term
LTR, live-in, whatever it may be.
Could be that too, right? Okay, let's move on to the next one. So that's happiness and stability. And then, of course, the next one, which is probably the most obvious one.
We'll move on to that one. So this one, what's the magic number here? I just like.
Oh yeah, you got to see the number.
Point.
Yeah, well, we got to answer. Say cheese.
Yeah. So scroll up real quick on this one, Chris, real fast.
Yep.
Number of lifetime. So it looks to me,
I think 6 is the number, isn't it? Like it starts to. Well, I mean, in this case,
dude, it is crazy how just one like changes it drastically, man. Wild.
Well, I mean, if you don't know what you're missing,
point of reference.
Yeah.
If think about it. Common sense, right? If a girl has multiple partners, like you said earlier, one of those partners at least has, I want to say, imprint on her. And as a result, she might find a new guy, but guess what? He's not measuring up to the guy she had back in the past.
Well, what do they say about like when virgins say you never forget your first, right? Why is that?
There you go. Yeah. It's true.
I just work here, man. I just work here.
So Rollo, you have 3 graphs here. So I think we showed all 3.
Okay. So anyways, the next one that you don't have to show. The next one is incidence of disease, like sexually transmitted diseases.
Oh, the devil.
So obviously, higher body count means there's probably a higher incidence of sexually transmitted diseases. So, and that's also part of that same data set.
Chris, if you don't mind, pull out a video real quick. This is so much perfect timing, bro. I cannot tell you how perfect this actually is.
Do it.
So, lo and behold, talking about body count.
It's random too.
Imprints.
I don't think it's as random as you think it is.
And
you might have seen us getting ready to drop this.
Dead ass, probably.
Let me post this too.
I'm like, wow, perfect timing.
Yeah, one second. I'm doing many things in the back.
Chris is loading peanut butter.
I mean, fresh. I'm
just kidding, bro. Kidding, bro.
It is.
Chill out, nigga.
Chris, pollution.
Look.
Fresh, how many? Oh God. Okay.
Just dropped it.
like the video, Chris, and then we could watch that later. Okay, let's go back to it. All right, so we covered the first portion, guys, which was
Like
data,
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
higher divorce, lower satisfaction, higher disease,
Mhm.
and then higher depression. We talked about that. So
And that's just 4 of the correlates that they're looking for. I mean, those are like probably the most important. I'm sure there are other ones as well. It's
okay.
not. And by the way, I'm not like a scientist. I'm not your freaking high school biology teachers. I'm not like trying to, just Mr. Wizard here. You can find this shit online. It takes you all of like 0.078 seconds to get returns on Google to find exactly this stuff.
But you know what I realized?
It's not hard.
People don't want to see information that doesn't confirm their beliefs.
Yes,
And as a result, if anybody here or anybody in the world says, hey, you know what? Here's the facts, but it's in line with their beliefs. Oh, how dare you? You're misogynistic. And as a result, the truth is never heard because they don't want to hear it.
It's what I call intellectual lethargy. Is what it is. We live in a time where it has never been easier to get the information to say, is this true or is this not? We live in a time where we have unprecedented access to information, and we have never been lazier.
Yeah, no,
never.
1,000%.
Let me before we move on to point 2. You got to remember this. And we talked about this before the show. Is that all this stuff? When it comes to lower incidence or higher incidence of divorce, lower incidence of marital happiness, disease might not be one of those, but depression and all that does not apply to men.
Yes.
Does not apply to men.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm glad that we're
Maybe the
making that
disease part
distinction.
does, but all the rest of those do not apply to men. And the reason for that is because men and women are what? Children? Different. I need a different sound drop. Okay.
Oh, Black Lemur in the chat.
Oh, damn.
Black Lemur
yeah,
2009. $500.
I remember a while back on the show, a girl said she had 6 bodies. So that 304 followed up and said, I'm a beginner. That should tell you that most women out here aren't worth my.
I want to say this, right? A lot of times, right? Me and Myron get slack on the show. Like, oh, you're chilling with this chick, wife her up. Bro, for the most part, bro, we understand most women are not marriage material. So what happens is we'll definitely chill with them, have fun, have a vibe, but long term may not work out. So we're just saying, look, guys, if you're aware of what's happening and you know the truth, you can see the red flags. Obviously have fun, but don't make it a long-term commitment where you have to either marry her or be her long-term. That's it.
No, 99% of women in the West, guys, are not worthy of a marriage.
Yeah.
That's just the unfortunate reality because a lot of girls like blow these numbers out the water that we're showing.
Well, and then I'll tell you, I'm gonna steal something from Aaron Clary, my good friend Aaron Clary. We live in a post-marriage society. I hate to say it. I hate to bring that up because I know that I'm going to get. I'm going to be. By the way, I'm going to be on Adam Sosnick's show tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern on the Valuetainment Network, and we will probably cover this. So I'm just going to preface this and say that I'm coming around to Aaron's way of thinking, where we are now kind of in a post-marriage society, at least post-marriage in terms of how we used to think of marriage in the 20th century.
Okay.
Remember, we're getting almost 22 years into the 21st century. Okay. We're still thinking of marriage and relationships and how men and women get together and, dating and Instagram and all this stuff. Like the machine doesn't change. Like men and women still want attention. Men still want sex, all that stuff. It doesn't change. But how we come to that, the way we think is the ideal way to do that is stuck in the 20th century. And here we are in the 21st century, and we're wondering why most women aren't worth the ring, right? No hymen, no diamond, man. Where is that, right? And we're still that no hymen, no diamond. You know where that comes from? The 20th century, 18th, 19th, 19th, 17th, 16th, 15th, the 14th century as well. But now we're in a post-marriage society, and we have to really look at how that social order has changed with how do men and women meet. Right? It used to be we met at school, we met in church, we met at work, we met at a club or something, and live in real time. You know what the number one way to meet women is right now? Online. Source them online. You still have to know game, as we were saying before when I was here last time, but the way that you meet them in the first place, you source them is it's all brand management. It's all just sourcing, women online and introducing yourself.
Who were the first people in this space to cover that? Me and you. DMs on demand. We were right, you niggas. We were right. That's all I'm saying.
We told y'all. Okay, so real quick, guys, we're gonna get. I'll read the chats real quick. We're gonna cover the second part, which is pair bonding, and then also.
Wait 1 second because the mouse is having issues. So give me a second.
Clean it out, man.
Come on,
Compressed air.
Hey, I'm Black Lemur. Thank you so much, bro.
Yeah, thanks for that,
support,
man.
my friend. We're gonna
for real.
Yeah. So As oh shit, we get
Earthquake.
shaky.
Oh, man.
We got hit with
Oh,
earthquake.
man.
shit.
Did you see that one in Japan?
No.
It was 7.3. Like John from Modern Life Dating, who was in the middle of Tokyo Crypto Show, and it was like,
Oh
he
shit.
was like, man, I thought I was
Guys,
having flashbacks.
I'll say this. This may be the beginning of the end for us.
Maybe.
Maybe the end days.
Wait, Chris, you had to get another.
Oh, there we go.
Are we good?
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah,
All right. So
no.
yeah. Okay. So all right. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna kill the Twitch stream real fast.
Yo, someone said
We're gonna kill Twitch and Twitter.
someone said that Russia is attacking right now. What the fuck,
Yeah. So
bro?
guys, come on over to YouTube. All right. We're gonna kill all
Stop
the
it.
other streams.
Stop
Go
it.
ahead and come on over to YouTube. Okay. And Twitter as well. All right. So
Oi, mate,
cool.
we're back.
So where are we at? We're at
Some chats here.
okay, this is Keith Simon. 3 hours is long enough. These guys have lives too. I'm looking forward to the clips of this show so I can share it.
Thank you. Some rational thinking.
Fresh just got back from a second job as CarMax. Hilarious. Cigar Man 85. A walrus hide behind TikTok with her hyena laugh. She's a true 304, a 3 on land, a 0 on the beach, and compared to a whale, a 4, a true definition of a land whale.
God.
Goddamn. Supporting Holland. That's from Hans Hessel 23. Thank you so much. We got $50 from JBX.
JBX.
Love you guys podcast and Rollo book. I had to rewatch the episode about dealing with red pill rage after listening to the last few episodes of Women's Insane Standards. Had to remember it's not about hating, it's about accepting women how they are. Absolutely, guys.
Guys, we have a catalog of videos covering almost every single scenario regarding the RP space, regarding women, regarding just being a better man. Guys, if you want to go back in time to our episodes, watch those because they're very important.
Yep.
Especially with the ones with Rollo inside too.
Yeah, no, for
Very
sure. Then we got Resist the Slave Mind. Woman Society wants you to fail.
Man.
All right. Fresh, this is torture. Please reconsider. Rollo, please help a brother out. He's going to crazy. Stop denying me my right to bust. And that's from Fresh's BBC. Okay, $5.
I'm still celibate, guys.
I got some overdue VHSs too.
Kareem
Very
Bilal
overdue.
1. Men can brag about past hell. I've been in the trenches. I was deployed in war. I was in a gang and got stabbed. I was homeless for a week. You can do an experiment with girls reading these lines. It will no longer be bragging. Yep. Hessel 23, $1. Thank you so much. Cardi Bands, a Big Mo TV. I sent a video on the paternity topic to you on Instagram. Red Capo. Okay. Mo's not here yet, but guys, he'll be here in a little bit. A person, $20. The fact that a child with a TikTok account thinks they can pose a threat to an author of the caliber of Rollo is its own humor. The rationale has saved more lives than any TikTok account could hope to. 100% facts. Absolutely. Eccentric Digital Media. Ain't gonna lie, I was from the city I met my previous wife. I found out years later she was a hoe in the city. All the bloods hit, had me looking dumb. Yeah,
bro,
man.
like I said earlier, imagine you found that woman, right, bro? They ran trains on her every weekend, except on Sabbath. It's
On
terrible,
Sabbath,
bro.
except on Sundays?
Yeah.
Just not Sundays.
Just
Okay,
not
well,
Sundays.
all right. Well, we just got to be sure.
The Three Kings with those cocked eyes, she'll never see where you guys are coming from. Hilarious.
Oh, God.
G,
Stop
Myron,
it.
what would you use as a defense for people who question sources that aren't .org or edu, collegiate environment doesn't allow, .coms, etc. as
Well,
sources?
I'll tell you about sources when we get to the end of this because
Perfect.
that's very important. Yes.
Rollo, do you offer one-on-one consultations? If so,
Yes.
how does one arrange that?
Right after the book drops, then you can.
Killer Scoot. Rollo just got the Rational Mail. Great stuff. Absolutely, guys. Go get that book. And then we got $100 from DL Saint. Outstanding show FNF. It looks like all is lost when it comes to relationships. I'm gonna become a monk. For now on, call me Friar Saint. Shake my damn head.
Don't get it up yet.
Dale Saint.
Bougie the trainer. Rollo, would you say the alpha is usually the first baby daddy because they often try to trap him by having the baby?
It's contextual.
It
Kind of depends. But we can actually make at least a correlation anyways, because when we're looking at marital happiness and we see 0 partners down to 1 partner, you might have a case. Depends on how, because usually when that woman is a virgin and she has sex with the guy for the first time, that's like, you never forget your first, right? That was the guy who got past the defenses, right? That's the guy who she's like, you know what? This is going to be my first guy, right? And so there's sort of he had to have got to that point. I mean, unless it was like forced copulation, there had to have been at some point where that guy was like, seemed valuable enough, hot enough, fun enough, whatever enough to be the first for her. So that's going to make an impression. Now, is that guy going to be the most alpha guy that she's ever been with? Well, I don't know. How many other guys are you going to have between now and 31 years old?
If you notice, right, when we talk about the exes all the time, but they don't mention the one that's maybe the last, maybe the one that had the most impact on her in that moment. So
well, and then I think we also need to remember, again, getting back to the studies thing here that this guy was talking about, is we have to figure out like what is the average partner count of women and the average partner count of men in, let's just say, industrialized Western nations, okay, where we're a little bit more free with our sexuality, like we're in the global sexual marketplace. What is the average partner count of men and women for like different age cohorts too? Like, because what we do when people throw this at me, and by the way, I should make this clear, when people start talking about, oh, those girls from Miami, they're just those ratchet ass bitches you pick up at the clubs, yada yada yada. Of course, they have high body counts, right? Well, okay. What is the average body count of a woman who, say, like the 19-year-old girl to 29? And what is the average body count from the woman who is 29 to 39? What is the average body count? And so we have to look at this demographically, because if you go and you say, okay, women between, I don't know, when women are having sex at 15 and they're done by 65, I don't know, whenever they hit menopause or whatever, right? On average. If you're going to take that all collectively as an aggregate, that average is going to be way different than the girls in different generations, the boomers, the Generation X, millennials, and Zoomers right now. Yep. What's the difference? Because if you look at the difference in like sexual frequency of Zoomers right now, that's going to be a whole different average than, say, my generation, like Generation X. Yep. So if you're going to take them all together and go, well, on average, women only have, six sexual partners in their lifetime. That's the average, right? Does that make her a skank? Does that make her an unclean woman? Because if we're going to use that aggregate, then we have to look at it generationally, and then in that time frame, like between, say, ages, like I said, 15 and 29, like what's that average right there? And by taking all that, it really kind of is neither here nor there, because they're all still going to be hypergamous, and men are still going to want to know that the baby is theirs as far as the mechanics are concerned. But when we start looking at hard numbers, you got to remember that average numbers don't tell the full picture. Yeah. So if I go and I say, well, like I said, all American women between 15 and 65, it might be 6 or 7. But if I go and I say, well, what about Generation X women or Zoomer women, and as compared to men even as well, like what's their average, and what's X average, and what's millennial average, and what's boomer average? If you're taking all those together, you also have to remember what is the societal conditions of those generations at that time. So when we say, like, people throw this at me all the time, and I wanted to make sure that I was clear about this, is that people will say, well, Rollo, the average woman only has 7 sexual partners in her life. Okay, well, nope. What generation? Mm-hmm. What demographic cohort are we talking about, right? And that's, you have to be very specific about that. And the minute you are specific, they'll go, who hurt you? Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but like, you just got to be honest with the fact that, like, if women self-report it, they are going to lower the number. Look, the numbers on these studies wouldn't be 21 plus if there weren't women with 21 plus. Yeah. Like, so what's the percentage of women with 21 plus, and what's the percentage of women with 6? Maybe that's the question we need to be asking.
Yeah, I'm not good at math, but bro, that's a lot of numbers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because numbers, like, what do they say? There's lies, damn lies, and statistics. That's the statistics part.
All right, so I'll finish these, then we'll get into the second part. So, okay, so we got Dila01. So how do you estimate her count? I only know she's been says a low number, but then goes crazy in bed. She's lying out. LOL. What else, man? You just got to look at.
Maybe you brought it out.
You can't really know by numbers, because you can't really dictate that. You weren't there, bro. But you can go by actions, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
If a girl wilds out on you, does that mean she's like done it with other guys, or is she just that into it with you?
Never know. Simone Bams 94, $5. Thank you so much. Noah King, hey Rollo, do you believe TikTok is worse than Instagram?
Yes.
With hurting the dating market?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Let me think about that. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not gonna hold you.
TikTok is for children.
Literally a place where women go to either drop tips, vent, or talk about their experience with men. And it can poison the average girl's mindset, because, this must be true. It's on TikTok.
TikTok is worse than the RedPill.
Look at Long Beach Griffin here. Body count does not matter. Shots our guy Long Beach Griffin, man.
By the way, Body Count is a great band, by the way. I know Juan Garcia, who is the guitarist in that, and Ice-T is still doing it to this day.
Body Count.
Wando, from one punch too many to one notch too many. Okay.
One Punch Man.
$20 Sleepy Joe. My female friend did the whole City Girls thing. She said she eventually started seeing spirits and was being tormented by some dark goddess named Lilith. Now she has to take meds. Note to self, no female friends. Okay. And then the Ninja Watcher, crazy 304s deserve less. Okay.
Shit, correct.
So so now we're going to talk about pair bonding, guys. And just to make this very clear, we're talking about pair bonding, guys. We're not talking about the clinical definition of pair bonding. We're talking about pair bonding from the perspective of a woman being able to have a meaningful, healthy relationship with a man in a long-term, romantic manner. That's what we mean, whether it's marriage or whatever it is. That's what we're talking about. Okay.
So when she got to that point in there where she's talking about pair bonding. Now, by the way, the reason I even made this sort of a bullet point on today's show was because this is the new hotness. This is the new, there's no such thing as an alpha. There's no such thing as pair bonding. That's what it's sort of this distraction, right? It's this, it's not even a straw man, because I don't think I've ever used the term pair bonding, but she was saying in her thing that, well, I was looking at some of the comments, they were talking about, women can't pair bond. Well, those aren't my words. Those are the words of the commenters. So that's number one. Number two is pair bonding doesn't follow. All right. This is what's called, it's not even a straw man, because I didn't say anything. So to straw man in the first place, it's what's called a non sequitur. It doesn't follow. Nobody is saying this. I just said marital happiness. Marital stability. Is that pair bonding? That's the question that I'm asking, because when I talk about alpha and people go, oh, there's no such thing as an alpha unless it's an alpha female. And then we want to, oh yes, alpha female, right? We need to clarify terms, because are we talking about marital happiness? Are we talking about pair bonding? Are we talking about rates of depression? By what metric do we want to show that women with higher body counts suffer from these things, right? So when we start looking at what pair bonding is, she's using a term that's like sort of this scientific term that is mostly relatable to, like, swans on the lake, like I was saying before, some like species of field mice that like stay together forever. And it's not even so much a scientific term in the sense that these guys are using it. They're just using it as sort of this placeholder term for marital stability, depression, happiness, incidence of divorce. Maybe all of that comes together as pair bonding. Who knows? But to be fair, I was run up the flagpole for not having my stats in a 30-second video. So, but I was detail oriented enough to do a screen cap of when she was talking about. I went and I looked at this study right here about pair bonding, and pair bonding is bullshit. So your whole argument is bullshit. Really? Cut. Non sequitur does not follow. Everything that we were talking about just up to this point with the stats that we've just put out there, if you're going to say, oh, that doesn't matter because you guys were talking about pair bonding to begin with. No, we weren't.
Exactly.
Okay.
The deflection is strong.
So it's a reframe, because she doesn't know she has no data to say anything else. But I did look this up. So I'm looking at I'm like, where the hell did she get this stuff? Right. And she says the study and I blew this up. I've got it right here just so you guys can see that this is what I'm reading from that her screen cap here. It says the study demonstrates.
Can we pull that up on screen right now?
Well, I don't know if you can, because I didn't give it to. Anyways, that's the.
Yeah, if you put on Telegram, Chris can get it.
All right, I'll push it over there and just say it's easier if I just read it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the study demonstrates, and this is from her video. The study demonstrates mathematically how that the most commonly proposed theories for the transition to human pair bonding are not biologically feasible. Oh, who's saying this? Where's this study? I have there's no link, there's no reference. She doesn't say, oh, I read this study and here it is in the background. Okay, well, if you're going to come at me and say, I don't have any fucking data, then it's incumbent upon you to at least put that in the links or your comments or whatever the hell it is. Because if you're going to quote that and say, this is the fucking gospel truth, I want to see what you're quoting.
Yeah.
You want to see what I'm quoting? We just gave it to you. There's the IFF studies, and we just gave you the Atlantic. I got dozens more on top of that. We're giving you the hard data.
Yep.
Okay. You want to have this? You want to come at me and say, oh, he's got a greasy ponytail. Great. Fine. But if you're going to come at me, come correct.
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Okay. You better come correct, because if you don't come correct, I'm going to own your ass just like I'm about to right here. Okay. So, however, the study advances a new model showing the transition to pair bonding can occur when female choice and faithfulness, among other factors, don't know what those are included. The result is an increased emphasis on provisioning females over male competition for mating, and that's about the best I can read of this thing. Where did this come from? Where's your data set? Show your fucking work. Where is it? I don't see it, because you're going to come at me and say, oh, there's nothing, there's no studies. And your 6.6 million TikTok followers are going to take your word as gospel in between every, 12-year-old giggle, right? Okay, fine. But show me your work. You say, I don't cite sources. Where's your sources? Because this looks like bullshit.
They can't, man.
I feel like this is bullshit.
This is and the thing is that, and that's why I wanted to play that video for you guys. Like, I just want you guys to understand, in the face of irrefutable fact or statistics or whatever it is, this is a common tactic. You look like a fucking music teacher. You got a greasy ponytail. Ad hominem attack followed by some kind of reframe or deflection or whatever it is. This is the world that we're in now, guys. Like, when you mention or cite statistics or data that puts women in an unfavorable light, almost always an ad hominem attack is going to come at you, and then some kind of reframe or deflection of what your argument is. They never attack the argument. They always attack the person.
Or they try to tell you that this is your argument. Yeah. Let me tell you what you're really. So what you're saying is. Yeah. That's essentially what that is.
So so what the hell is this thing that she was trying to cite here?
Well, I don't know what article it is. We have no link. I can't actually go to it and see what the hell they were saying. Right. So that's number one.
And she tries to define pair bonding like, oh, well, this is not the argument because this is what pair bonding is, when you never even mentioned pair bonding in your video.
So, my reference for pair bonding comes from a book called Promiscuity by Dr. Tim Burkhead. If you really, that is a fantastic book. It's kind of, if you really want to if you're like a science wonk about all this kind of stuff, that's a really great book. When he talks about pair bonding, it's usually from like the animal kingdom, right? True monogamous pairing between animals is very, very rare in the animal kingdom. Like I said, there's only like a species of field mice or something like that that actually mate for life and pair bond for life. Okay, so we can't really use those terms in reference to like how do human beings form lifelong bonds of intimacy and reproduction and yada yada. Okay, so we're using sort of etymological terms for human beings. It's the same thing with alpha. Like when people came at me for alpha, they kept saying, well, there's no, you guys think you're silverback gorillas. You guys think you're wolves on the Arctic tundra. And the guy who came up with alpha for those wolves, he even debunked it himself. And it's like, that's not what we're using the term for.
Yeah.
So we're using alpha as an abstract term. It's a placeholder term for a high. Do you like high value man better? Let's just HVM instead of alpha. It's the same friggin' thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So we need that as a point of reference so we can talk about bigger dynamics. A higher value guy. Why do women want a high value guy? Okay. What constitutes a high value guy?
We need a constant so that we can go into more complex.
You know why
discussion.
We use high value guy? Because everybody's uncomfortable saying alpha male, which we've been using for God knows how long. Yeah. Right. So when people say there's no such thing as an alpha male, but when I start talking about, oh, there's no such thing as an alpha female. Oh, what are you talking about? I'm an alpha female. I own my own business and I went to school and blah, blah, blah.
Stupid.
I'm willing to say, okay, if you want to use that as a frame of reference, that's fine, but you're wrong about the terminology. And we can talk about that too. But we do need that as an abstract term to talk. Okay, fine. Same thing that's going on here. What she wants to do is reframe this because she thinks it debunks the premise that a woman's sexual past should matter to a guy. That's why. How do I get rid of that? Well, your terminology is wrong. Yeah. She's hit all these ways to sort of reframe the argument so that you can say, just dismiss everything he has to say. Yeah. That's all it really comes down to. Like, what was it? And then at the end of that little section, she's like, that's just his personal prejudice. That's what they want to say. Oh, he's this old religious guy who thinks in old terms, and we're not like that anymore. He's just being judgmental. Yes. And by the way, that is the number. If you look at I looked this up. If you look at the usage, like, you know how Google has term usage, and they'll say like from like 1990 to 2021 or 22 or something like that. Yeah. If you look up RedPill, you'll see where it spikes for that, or alpha or whatever. Yeah. If you put in judgmental and you look at where it hits, like at different, like this is in literature, this is in media, this is in movies and music, and just the usage of it that is searched for on Google, you'll see that it goes off the chart right around the late 90s, right there, because that is the idea is that if you have these conversations, this whole show right here, you're just being judgmental. Yeah. You're being judgy. And you guys are old and you look like you're searching for, metal with a metal detector on the beach. And you're, let's say you have a greasy ponytail and that they don't listen to these guys anymore because they're just judgmental.
not only that, but now you have a bunch of convenient shaming language as well. Like, I can't tell you how many girls on Twitter, TikTok, etc., just call us incels, which is like hilarious to me because it's like, all right, cool. You guys want to call us involuntary?
That's another term. Look that one up on Google and see when that spiked.
Like, and that, well, number one, that's not true. But if you guys do want to call us incel, it's fine. But even, let's assume we were virgins and we didn't get girls or whatever. We're still saying facts. If I'm a virgin or not,
doesn't
and I say the
change the
sky's blue,
facts.
does not change the facts.
Doesn't change those data sets
You know what
that
I'm
we
saying?
just
Doesn't
showed.
change what we're showing. So it's like, regardless of, let's say we are incels, it doesn't take away from the argument whatsoever. Because if I say 1 + 1 is 2, whether I'm a genius or I'm an idiot, it does not change the fact that 1 + 1 is fucking 2. And they want to sit here and just deflect and be like, well, let's attack the person personally and make a, like, it's ridiculous how anything that represses female sexuality or paints an unfavorable light on it, that limits their ability to act like hoes, is almost always gonna be met with some kind of shaming language. It's like fucking clockwork, bro. After talking to like thousands of women, it's like a knee-jerk reaction. You know, the doctor hits you with the fucking thing on your knee like this, like, oh shit, oh shit. It's just automatic. Yeah, girls that have higher body counts, probably not a good bet for a relationship or a marriage. Oh, you're toxic. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what, man? I really don't want to wife up a hoe. Oh, you're a misogynist. You know what, man? I'm not really feeling this girl, taking her serious, man. I heard that she banged a couple guys on the team or whatever. Like, oh, you know what I'm saying? It's like insecure. Like, it's like small dick energy. It's like automatic triggers.
You're
every
threatened by a
single
strong
time.
woman.
But if a woman says, well, we don't want no small dicks over here, or well, I don't want no guy that's broke, or it's like, or I want a guy that's tall, or whatever the fuck. No, it's not like guys are like, insecure. You know what I'm saying? Or we're like, you stupid bimbo. Like, no, guys are just like, okay, we accept objective reality. You know what I'm saying? We accept reality for how it is. This is how women may select. But women have a serious point of issue when men have preferences. It's ridiculous to me, and they always meet it with some kind of shaming language. And
I got to do this. Because we talked about this before. This is a perfect place to insert this. When you were on Adam Sosnick's show and you were on there with those two, you were on there too with those two girls that were on there, and you started talking about pretty some tame stuff compared to like what you go into here. They're like, what was your childhood like? What was your who hurt
Chris,
you?
your mic is muted, by the way.
What was that? What was the girls? What was that girl? Have you ever been in love, Myron? Like that
Who
kind of
hurt you, Myron?
Who hurt you, Myron? I'm like, where the fuck?
Where's your mother?
And to your credit, the first thing out of your mouth was like, what are we? What am I on the couch?
Yeah. I was about to start lying down like, oh yeah. Let me tell you all my problems. Yeah, man, I was hurt like 10 years ago, bro. Shit sucks. It's like,
when that happened, I thought about this and I go, how many like. That is like the standard default reflex of women when they don't know, they know they can't hit you stats wise. They can't shame you for anything, but they want to presume that there has to be something wrong with you. Yeah. Very, very wrong
Myron,
with you.
Are you well?
Yeah. Are you well? Yeah. What was your parent? I would like, I love this. When she's like, what were you, are your parents still together? Like, who raised you? Was your dad? Did your dad beat you when you were a kid? And you're like, no, I had a great. My parents were great. I come from a Muslim family. We were really tight. You were just like, I just saw them recently.
And not only that, I love it when they say, who taught you this? Why are you like this? You know what I tell them? My fucking mom taught me this shit, you dumb bitch. Like, yo, my mom is the one that warned me about like hypergamy, about women in the West in general. My mom was the first one to tell me, do not marry these women. Don't take them serious. She ain't never going to cook and clean for you. She's never going to take care of you. She's going to divorce you, take your money. And she was telling me this shit when I was like 10. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? She comes from a Muslim background. She only had been with my dad in Sudan. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you commit adultery there, it's done, baby. You get stoned. So she comes from a background where female promiscuity was punished and shamed to a significant degree. So when we came here, like, my mom had never seen, gay people or, women on women. She had never seen this stuff in Sudan until she came over here. It's like stuff they knew kind of existed in the West, but she didn't see it with her own two eyes until she moved here with my dad. So she was very like, hey, you need to be careful with these women, everything else like that. So I love it when women tell me, you have a mother. Who taught you this? Why are you like this? And I was like, yeah, my mom is the one that taught me this, because they don't expect it.
They presume that they presume to be a psychotherapist. They presume to be a psychologist.
You know what's funny? They do come with this rhetoric, and it's funny because they'll say, oh, you must be hurt. You're angry. Somebody hurt you. And it's like, we're happy. We know the truth. Yeah. We're living life. Yeah. We have a great lifestyle, great people around us, great friends.
We figured out how to leverage this.
Great allies. And it's like, yo, you're upset because you keep failing in your relationship. You keep getting hurt. We're fine. You try to put that on us. And it's like, yo, like, if you want to say the truth and you said the truth, then guess what? Now you're free. versus, oh,
Mhm.
this is what I think it is, and I keep getting hurt. It's like a spiral.
Mhm.
But
And I want to say this too, Rollo, because you brought up a great point with the because this happens a lot. Whether it was on that show where, hey, can you tell me like what was it like growing up, blah blah blah, or girls use the shaming language like, hey, who hurt you, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What I've come to realize is this: women are rarely, if ever, challenged on their belief system.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
when you go ahead and you tell them, yeah, promiscuity affects women a lot different than it affects men. They're not. It's like you're speaking fucking Chinese to them. They're like, what?
Yeah.
What are you saying? And like I said before,
And they
again,
don't
knee-jerk
even know-
reaction. Oh,
And they don't
okay.
even know where they came to that. They don't know how they even came to what's called their epistemology, right? They don't
Yeah.
know how they came to their belief set. And that's was my number one question whenever the girls are here. It's like, how did you come to believe that men and women should be like equal partners and da 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 da? Okay, first of all, that's bullshit. But second of all, it's like, how did you come to the presumption that men and women should be equal partners, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm curious about, because I hear the same language being repeated and parroted back over and over and over again. So when people say, oh, those girls in Miami, or they're just low quality girls, their same response and the same reactions are the same one you're going to get from the girl in the Midwest.
Yeah.
That's the same default presumption that they should, like, a woman has this supernatural empathy that they should know, well, what was your family like? The reason why you're fucked up is because your dad or your mom or your some girl hurt you in high school and blah blah blah. And the problem is guys fall into that trap. They go, well, we've all been hurt. Oh, really? Because the moment you even have one concession to that, that's when that facade comes down. And I think too many guys presume that women have some sort of like natural psychic, connection or empathy, that they can sort of like read your mind, something like that. And so they default to really Freudian psychology, even though they probably would hate Sigmund
I would
Freud,
argue,
but they default to that.
Despite popular, and I was thinking about this the other night.
Why do we believe them? Why do we believe them?
I was thinking about this shit while I was in bed the other day. Pause. And
Pause,
I want to say this because everyone goes around and says that women are extremely empathetic, etc. I argue that they're not empathetic whatsoever. Fucking ever. I argue that they're less empathetic than men are, because the thing is, with a man, you have to be able to sympathize with the female experience, because if you want to get good with girls,
are two different things.
Sorry, empathy. I'm sorry. You have to be able to understand female psychology to get women in the first place. But women, on the other hand, do not understand male psychology, even though they think they do. Because we bring them on the show all the time, and they don't even know what men want. They assume,
they think they got you.
They think they got you, but they really don't fucking know and or understand the male experience whatsoever. So it's like, and I don't blame them for it, because they have the privilege of being chased by men. They have the privilege. So it's like, I don't have to care or know what the fuck men want, because they come to me.
Why should I? Right?
Scary part, man.
Yeah, so
Why should I?
and just long story short, the reason why I was bringing this up is because I get a lot of guys who do exactly the same thing. They'll say, why do women suddenly think that they're like psychologists all of a sudden, right? You have no background in psychology. Or they'll fall into the same situation you were in. Like some woman doesn't have a counter argument for anything that you're saying, like your stats, and you're speaking the language of rationality, right? And so it sounds like hate, right? If you say something that goes against whatever their belief set was. And so when you do that and they don't have any recourse, they can either go, who hurt you? But as part of who hurt you, there's this presumption that I am right and you are wrong.
Yes.
And I have to figure out how you came to be wrong. Why don't you get on the couch here and tell me about your childhood, Dr. Freud? And it's not even so much the guy, it's the woman thinks she's right. She thinks that she knows. I'm a female, so I have this inherent God-given divine knowledge about human psychology, and you should defer to me because I know more than you. So I'm going to figure out why you're fucked up. And it's like, no, that's not. So my advice to guys, I don't usually give advice. I don't give prescriptions, but my prescription in this case is, are you a psychologist? How many years did you spend in school? Do you have a doctorate in psychology? Then why do you presume to fucking psychoanalyze me? Stupid. Because and put them on the spot and say, the reason you're doing that is because you're trying to reframe this conversation right here from a rational argument to an emotional one, and you have no other recourse. Before I tell you about my family, tell you what, I'll tell you about my family as soon as you admit you're wrong. As soon as you say I'm incorrect about what I think.
Yeah, women are natural manipulators. And I would say that they're always partying. So, for example, there's three rooms, right? There's a party room where they get lit to have fun. There's a pity room where they want you to join a pity party. And the third room is a room that we all know, the room of delusion. Where they're just in their belief. And if it goes, like I said earlier, if you're not in those rooms with them, you're like a enemy. and as a result, they're gonna attack you. So
Mhm.
that's what it is.
Yeah. Anyway, so
you
we
wanna
talked
move
about
on?
pair
Yeah, let's
bonding.
move on.
Did you want to go on to women's sexual selection now?
Yeah, because that's an easy one to get.
Okay.
Sure.
So all right,
Oh,
read these
super.
chats real
Oh,
quick.
we got
then we'll
we
get
got
into the third point.
$100. There you go.
Thailand 25. Fresh, are you well? Fire episode. Thanks for the knowledge of game. Road to 1 million. Let's go. Thank you so much, bro. Shout out to you, bro.
He's well.
And then we got let's see here, Michaela Peterson, $20. Okay.
Thanks.
That's a troll
I
account.
saw what
Thanks,
you said.
Michaela.
But no, that's not her though.
It's a troll account.
Yeah.
Okay,
But-
Janik, Rollo, I'd like to translate your earlier works in another language off Facebook. DM you later. Just a heads up. All right.
Swahili. I think that's the only one somebody hasn't hit me up about.
How you deal with bitter baby mothers using kids? Don't worry. $20. That's from DJ Lanta. Sarah
Crazy.
Davis. No female will be honest about her body count. Believe that. That's a fact. The women in the video really just had a lot of sign language and no substance. Women really believe that insulting equals facts. No, of course. Alan Alik, $1. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Electric relaxation. I had a female friend who was a 304 as well, and she started seeing spirits too. This is scary. Okay. And then Raj Man, $15. Evening, gentlemen. I would like to call and speak to you both again. No disconnect. That'll be on Friday. So, okay, guys. So, quick little summary of what we've been talking about.
So, had our stats.
So, first we talked about data, right? Where we talked about the, higher body counts for women leads to higher divorce rates, lower marriage satisfaction, higher probability of disease, and higher depression. Okay, we were able to show those stats earlier in the show. Then we went into pair bonding, where women like to reframe pair bonding with men's paternal hesitancy as an insecurity, right? Right, to make them to reframe the argument, right, making an emotional one versus a logical one.
Marital happiness versus pair bonding. What is it?
Exactly.
Give me a concrete answer, because the moment you do, is the moment I destroy your argument.
Exactly. And then they go into the prejudice and the debunking. So now we're going to talk about women's sexual selection.
This
So
is
let's
the
take it away
funnest
here.
part. This is going to be now we've reached the comedy portion of today's show.
Right. Let's get into it right now.
Okay. So she also mentions towards the end of that video that the reason for Western civilization's success is because women have chosen men to be, we've selected hypergamy, right? Where they're all looking for the top 20%. Well, over the course of history, we've selected men, and it's really, you owe women a debt of gratitude for your Western cultures. All right. Bullshit. Okay, I'm gonna read. I got this one quote here from this is Tim Burkhead's book Promiscuity that I wanted, because I got to preface what I'm about to get into, because we're going to talk about Genghis Khan here in just a moment.
And before he reads this, guys, do me a quick favor. How many likes do we got, Chris?
We got 2.5.
Guys, can you get us at least
Get it up.
3,000 or 4,000 likes? Look at that view in the background, man. Look at the lighting. Look at Fresh. You can actually see his ugly ass for once.
There's a full
Mo
moon.
just walked into the building.
Oh, it's a free show, man.
Free show.
Guys, do me a favor, man. Just like the video, bro.
Oh,
And,
Mo's in the house.
Hook your people up, man. And yeah, guys, let's get up to 4K, because I'll
Mo
tell you
came to
this.
work.
Ain't nobody gonna systematically debunk the BS when it comes to female high body counts like we are here on Fresh Fit. So guys, like the video, please. That's all we ask. Like,
all right. So this quote, by the way, is straight out of Promiscuity by Dr. Tim Burkhead. I mentioned him earlier on. Okay. So this is the issue of paternity is at the core of much of men's behavior. Okay. And for good evolutionary reasons. In our primeval past, men who invested in children that were not their own would, on average, have left fewer descendants than those who were reared only by their own genetic offspring. Stepdaddy season, right? As a consequence, men were and continue to be preoccupied with paternity, and this has shaped not only many male behaviors, but perhaps surprisingly, some female behaviors as well. Okay. The most obvious way in which men's preoccupation with paternity manifests itself is in jealousy. Okay. Jealousy, and we get jealous. Men and women get jealous, like for infidelity and mate guarding for different reasons. Watching a partner and keeping her away from potential competitors. Mate guarding. I want to preface that because we're going to come back to that here. That's straight. That is not my words. This is Dr. Tim Burkhead from Promiscuity. Got it. All right. So she goes into this this diatribe about how it's you're just upset and bitter and judgy and prejudiced and everything else because women didn't pick you. Well, first off, I've already reproduced successfully. I have a notch count of about 42 right now, which is way higher than the 21 plus that they mentioned on the thing here. So, and also I understand that men and women are different. That's the key factor in all of this. So how am I going to debunk this as easy as possible? We're going to go look at old Uncle Genghis Khan. Okay. Genghis Khan is probably not the most prolific human male in history, but because there's another guy that is actually a Muslim guy that sort of defeats his
Pull up
record.
a picture of this guy real quick, Chris, for those that may not know their history.
Yes,
Khan.
Genghis
Shout out to Marco
Khan,
Polo from
raping
Netflix.
and pillaging the Mongol. He was the Mongol hordes.
Mongolian chicken.
Yes, okay. And Mongolian, yeah. You go to Mongolian barbecue, think of your good Uncle Genghis.
Shitty chicken.
Now, why do I say Uncle Genghis? Because 1 in every 200 men on planet Earth right now is a genetic descendant of Genghis Khan. Now, if you know anything about Genghis Khan, he was probably on the shit list of a lot of different people at that time.
I think so too.
Yes. Okay. I mean, if you know his history, he was very much a raider, and I don't think I need to explain who Genghis Khan was. However, he was very prolific in that, of course, we all, 1 in every 200 of us, and I want to do this experiment. We need to get every guy in this room to do a genetic test and see if we have Genghis Khan's DNA floating in our bloodstream right now, because odds are, if there's 200 people, one of those guys is a direct genetic descendant of Genghis Khan. Now, do you think that he was so prolific because women were choosing Genghis Khan back in the day? Do you think that all these women, you know what? He just burned our cities down and killed all of our livestock, and all our men are dead in the streets right now. And you go, I really want to bang that guy.
Well, Rollo, to be fair,
they chose him, right?
He had a raid game.
Raid game. I like that. Oh, yes. Raider. Mongol raiding game. Yes. Next from John from Our Life Dating. So raid game, right? No. He did that because forced sexual copulation. All right. So as I was saying before, the things that have defined powerful men over the course of history have been resources, territory, and access to virgins, hopefully, and exclusive unlimited access to unlimited sexuality, right? So that did not come primarily, at least probably up until maybe the sexual revolution, until 1965. Prior to that, it was probably because there was a mutual arrangement between men and women. Did women select guys? Yeah, sure. But were their choices the same as they are from the sexual revolution up to 2022? No, that's a blink of an eye in human history. Okay. So if we go and you look at, she fundamentally lacks any understanding of genomic sciences right now. And I'm Mr. Wizard once again, but we look, just Uncle Genghis Khan. That's an easy one to do. Now, the other one was 1 in 17 for every one man. This is up to 8,000 years ago. For every one man who successfully reproduced, 17 women successfully
I'll go pull up
reproduced.
that article too, Chris. I have it on the
that one I think is ready to go.
That's crazy.
So genetically
one man to every 17 women. I don't think people understand the gravity of that, and we know that since the beginning of time. I think somewhere between 30 to 40% of men since the beginning of time have procreated. Yeah. And whereas like 90% of women have.
There we go.
You know what I'm saying?
So, standard's a good one.
So yeah.
Now that has somewhat tapered off since then. Now I think it's more like 1 in 7, 1 for every 7. It's still a pretty exponentially a bigger deal. Yeah. Okay. And remember, 8,000 years ago is before agriculture as well, because a lot of people will say, well, it was because of agriculture. No. So for one man who has successfully reproduced, 17 women successfully reproduced. Is that because 17 women said, I really want to fuck that one guy? Or is it because of warfare, bloodshed, warfare, forced sexual copulation? Yeah. Was it because
conquering territories?
Survival? Hey, Drew, was it because of the patriarchy? Because if the case is that women are the ones doing the sexual selection and they're, secretly responsible for the success of Western civilization, that would preclude the idea of the patriarchy, wouldn't it? They're the ones that are actually in control, the power behind the throne, right? Maybe the patriarchy is just immature, insecure guys who are hating from outside the club. Yeah, right. Maybe that's the case. No, that's not the case. And any child can figure this fucking shit out. All right. But 6.6 million TikTok followers, they can't figure it out because all you give a rat's ass about is that's what it comes down to. It's easily refutable. This was right here when I was thinking about this, and I go, this is going to be the humor part of this. Because I don't think I've ever brought up Genghis Khan on this show before, but that's really what it comes down to. It's like we have sexual dimorphism. We have diverse gender roles, diversified gender roles as a result of our biology.
Yeah.
Men are built for combat. Men also have an innate protector dynamic in psychology for women and children.
Yes.
Right? Sperm is cheap, eggs are expensive. That has a way of affecting us psychologically.
Absolutely.
It's not, do women choose men? In ideal situations, that's the way it would. It certainly is now because of poly and, women with high body counts who don't think anything of it. It's really their high body counts and poly and all that other stuff that's coming out because we want to get away from monogamy right now. Well, what's the alternative in a post-marriage society? Well, it is women would rather get with a high value, successful alpha than be saddled with a faithful beta.
Absolutely.
That monogamy that set the Western civilization up, that men were in control of because we had a quote unquote patriarchy, which was a much more balanced system than a gynocentric social order because men had responsibility and authority to affect that. Now all they have is responsibility, and women default to hypergamy because they're looking for the top 20% of guys. Ergo, we have a poly society where all these women want to share. They would rather share the high value alpha than be saddled with the faithful beta. And we're seeing how that's working out right now.
It's happening now.
It's gotten to the point where a 27-year-old girl on TikTok with 6.6 million followers thinks that that's the way it's always been. We've always been like this. It's what's the sexual revolution of which you speak, right? What's this hormonal birth control of which you speak? You have no background or no really understanding of how genomic research works, plus human history up to this point.
Yeah, and this is one thing also that goes to just show again, like I said, like the gross lack of awareness from so many modern day women is that they don't understand because they say things like this because they think that guys are out here actually having sex. They think that,
because
guys,
what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If I'm having a ton of sex, they must be having a ton of sex.
And they think that like a bunch of guys are out here smashing girls, whatever. I can't tell you, bro, how many times when I say, hey, did you guys know that like almost 1 in 3 guys is like a virgin and or not sexually active for the past year? They can't believe it. They look at me like, what? They think I'm speaking Chinese or something, but it's because so many women don't understand the male experience whatsoever. And they think, well, it's easy for me to get boxed. It's got to be so much easier for you. But again, women only see the top 10% of men as real sexual options, to be honest. And they think that, all the guys are like these guys that I meet at the parties and the clubs and, my social circle, these high value men, they're all like that. They're all fucking girls. No, they're not, man.
Yeah, their point of origin is the guys that they meet of the higher caliber. And as a result, that's what they draw from it. Yeah, like you say all the time. And it's funny because a lot of girls will be like, oh, yeah, you know what? Like, guys are dogs. They all treat you bad. But no, the guys you choose to be around,
that you can't lock down,
that treat you bad. So as a result, they think all guys are the same, and that's their whole point of origin.
Yeah, exactly. The 80% of guys who they are unattractive. They're not just unattractive; they're invisible. They're not even an afterthought in women. When you ask women, what do you look for in a guy? They're not thinking of those 80% guys or any characteristics or traits that the vast majority, 80% of men have. They're looking at the top 20%. And usually those guys, the way they got to the top 20% is because they have dark triad personality traits.
And I would argue they look for even less than that, Rollo, because when we ask girls, we have our delusion calculator that we use. Hey, describe your ideal man. Bro, every single time, the guy that they describe is probably less than 3%.
There is, by the way, I meant
ridiculous.
I meant to bring this up. There's also a male delusion calculator right now, meaning like I want a woman who is between the ages of 18 and 29, right? She can't be fat, she can't be overweight, got to be unmarried. You can choose by height too, as well. You can choose by socioeconomics, like how much money does she have to make? Usually it's like 0. I don't care how much you make, right? And then ethnicity and stuff like that. And you put all that in there, and you can say this women of this, what you're choosing are X, Y, and Z, right? I felt pretty good because what I put in was like 21% of the population is like, I'm not picky about ethnicity or anything like that. I'd be like, okay, whatever.
I guarantee you, if you compared the male delusion calculator to the female one, you're gonna see the most drastic difference.
And instead of cat food bags, it's like red pills.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like guys
there is a calculator now for that.
Nearly as selective.
Well, and I think it's a useful tool because there's guys who are like, I want a virgin bride.
Oh, bro,
good. Yeah, your percentage just went very small.
Yeah, and the other thing too, also, is that like me, for example, right? I want to marry a girl that's a virgin, right? Down the road, and when I eventually do it, I understand from a realistic perspective, I'm not going to find that in the West. I'm going to have to leave to do that, and I accept. I understand that. I accept it and I'm willing to do what's required. Women, however, for some weird fucking reason, are not willing to accept that. No, I will find this guy that makes $500,000 a year and be. What the hell? Oh,
we're losing.
My bad.
No,
we I don't know what happened.
We're under attack.
We're under attack, guys. But yeah, so,
FBI,
yeah, exactly. No, but like with women, they'll be like, hey, you know what? What the hell?
Are we good? We're good.
All right. But women, on the other hand, they'll be like, no, I want this guy that makes this much money, this or whatever, and I'm not settling until I find him. I don't care. You know, I will wait. And I'm just like, goddamn, like, well, okay, well, you're gonna have to share this guy. No, I'm not gonna share him. He's gonna be monogamous to me. All right, whatever. You guys,
because it's gonna be this miracle of God, right?
They're not willing to make drastic changes to find a guy that is a gross anomaly. You know what I'm saying? Whereas like I'm willing to make changes and go where I need to go and do what I got to do to make it happen. There is, but there, to the modern woman's mind, there is no such thing as a burden of performance. All I have to do is look good and fuck him. I don't have to cook. I don't have to do anything. Literally, like what's fascinating to bring to the table and they don't know what to say.
Well, what's fast? Or they'll say, "I have my own business." Okay, I have an education. I have an 8-year degree.
Stupid.
And
Rollo, you're insecure.
Yeah.
How dare you?
What was your family like?
Yeah. Facts.
I want to throw something out here real quick too, as well as because we're getting on the tip
because we're still on women's sexual.
We got one last point here to go, but and this is the kicker. But I wanted to point out that a lot of the stuff that we're hearing right now in a quote unquote post-marriage society, there still has to be, we're trying to figure out like what's the best way for men and women to get together. Like I get this question, you probably do too. Guys say all the time, Rollo, I really want to have kids, but I don't want to get married. I don't want to take on that risk. What do I do besides like get a surrogate mom and get an egg and get my sperm and like have my own kid, like electively have my kid? Like women can do that very easily. Men, it's going to cost you, upwards of $100,000, $200,000, depending on how you go about it. Right. So if I want to be electively be a single father, I've either got to find a girl's ready to have sex with me and have my kids, or else I'm going to have to like wait till technology and science comes around, and that's simply not going to be the case. Yeah. But what's happening is because marriage and like contractual, like how do we get men and women together? Like I probably will get this question tomorrow on Sosnick's show. Mm-hmm. Like how do you get men and women together? What's the alternative in a post-marriage society? And I'll tell you, the thing is you're asking the wrong guy. You need to go and look and see what people are already doing, because right now single mothers and stepfathers, that's a mating strategy. Single mommies, you'll be a superhero and you're a noble man if you're not the stepfather, you're the father who stepped up, right? If I make you feel like I reward you and I reinforce the behavior I need in you, that's a mating strategy. I need a man with benefits now that I've already bred with. Like you're the man with benefits and I already had sex with this alpha over here and I got his kids and I need you to pay for it. All I have to do is change society. That's the thing about like promiscuity. It's the changing of the minds. It's like working on the hearts and minds of men for like last 4 generations to repress their innate evolutionary instincts and feel bad about them because they don't fit into women's mating strategy. Like I said, single mothers and stepfathers. Female promiscuity leads into polyamory, right? It's like, well, it should be okay for me to have lots of guys I fucked in the past because, well, men do it too, right? And even though statistically we know that they're not.
Which is exactly what they got mad about with Little Dirk. Little Dirk said, hey, I've wifed up India because she has a low body count. And women on Twitter losing their minds. But no one cares about your body count, huh? Oh, why is it okay for you? So what? You act like you don't have a history.
So
bitch, he's a man.
Okay, so if the predominant social narrative is that it's not right for men to have any concern about women's sexual past, the guys who are the 80% unattractive guys, what are they going to do? They're going to go, oh, that's okay. I identify with you. I align with you. Yes, you're right. Those guys are sons of bitches and they're old. They're prejudiced and judgy and stuff. I would never do something like that, like male feminists. It's called sneaky fucker mating strategy, right?
White knights.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to be I'm on team woman, right?
I'm here for you, my lady.
Therefore, I'm not going to judge you because of your sexual past, even though it's going to completely hobble me in the future. Yeah. But that becomes what? A mating strategy for beta males to align themselves with women. And what are we aligning them with? With their sexual past, supposed to not be something, or stepdaddy season, or open cuckoldry and poly lifestyles. It's okay. I'm good with that. We have an open marriage because I can never be enough for her. And it doesn't matter because we still have a family together and a baby, but she wants to go out and fuck guys on the weekend and look for out, when she's in a proliferate phase of her menstrual cycle.
Spring break.
Yeah. Spring
we
break.
had a girl in here that was actually telling us about that, how she had clients that talk about, I have a man at home, but she still goes out and fucks other guys while he's home. And I explained to her that's because that dude that she's with is a sucker, and she understands that he pays the bills and he takes care of her kid, who isn't his kid, by the way, and she goes out and fucks other guys. And I was like, that's unacceptable. It's just that she accepts that because she can no longer get the same kind of command, the same kind of attention she used to command when she was younger. So now she becomes a fuck toy for the higher value men, while this sucker stays at home and she gives him the starfish sex. And when I explained that to her, she's like, okay, that makes sense, because if a woman truly loves and admires, respects her man, she's not going to go out there and fuck other guys.
Right.
Well, a lot of guys will accept that bullshit.
And also, guess what? That woman is one at the head of the household. So that whole dynamic is because she's the leader.
Yep.
And the scary thing is that society will sit there and try to shame you for not accepting that as a man, just like you said before.
Because because we only focus on the beta buck side of hypergamy. We only think that women are only interested in long-term security, which they are largely because they have more need over a course of a lifetime for long-term security than their alpha, their hoe phase will afford them, like between 18 and 28, right? Yep. And that's their peak sexual market value agency at during that time.
They know it too. They know it.
But we get guys, particularly, remember, there's more beta men, there's more 80%ers than there are guys for the top 20% that women want to get with. Those 80% guys, it is in their best interest, reproductively speaking, to align themselves with whatever the popular narrative is of women right now, because in doing so, they think that by identifying with that they have a better chance of reproducing. And in some cases, that might be their only chance for reproducing. So you'll get these discussions between David Buss and fucking Dr. Jordan Peterson, and all they ever do is talk about the beta buck side of hypergamy. They never talk about the hot chick and the hot guy in the foam cannon party in Cancun banging that. I was drunk, he was cute, one thing led to another. They don't talk about that as any part of a short-term sexual, and never enters the conversation because they don't want to certainly offend that side of the audience, of course, but they think that that's the beta buck's long-term security side of hypergamy is the only side of hypergamy, and it is not. And we are shooting ourselves in the foot by not recognizing that.
Yeah, no,
and you know what? You'll hear about that here on Fresh and Fit, but you will not hear that between discussion between David Buss and the rest of the
shows that shows the dark side of female nature, which is why they don't want to
tell the whole truth, or don't tell the truth at all.
That's the ugly side of female nature, where it is literally, if a woman must, she will get that sexual access she wants while simultaneously siphoning off resources from a man that she doesn't really like.
And it's never been easier to do it than the 21st century.
Most girls
sugar daddy culture right now.
Yeah, they can't find that one guy. So as a result, they have to, because guess what? For their happiness, they have to find the guy that's going to pay their bills, the guy who's going to fuck them good, maybe even the boyfriend that's going to make sure that they're maintained daily. So
and when you talk about this, right, when you expose these unflattering realities about female nature, that yes, if you meet an attractive woman, more than likely she's going to be talking to multiple men, and each of these men is going to serve a different purpose. One might serve a sexual, one might serve a provisioning, one might serve an emotional, and it is what it is. They're going to look at you like you're a misogynist. And the thing is this, is that we have, and I'm really glad you mentioned the stepdaddy culture and everything else like that. We live in a society nowadays where women will sit there and rationalize their bad decisions and make you feel bad for not accepting it. We say all the time, single moms are recreational use only. Do not marry them. Do not take them seriously. Go find a woman that's adequate to build a legacy with her, with your children, not someone else's legacy. And when you say that, oh my God, that's so misogynistic. You guys are fucking sexist. You guys are toxic. But if I tell a woman, hey, you know what? Well, go ahead and take a chance on that 19-year-old that lives with his mom and smokes pot and doesn't have a career.
Single dad.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I know my worth. I'm going to know my worth, and I'm going to pick the best man that I can get. And I'm going to get him. But if I tell a guy, hey, you need to exercise the same discretion that women do, they look at you like you're fucking crazy. You should accept women regardless of their poor past decisions. And I'm here to say no, because a woman with a past is going to fuck up your future as a man. And guess what? Your future as a man is what defines you. That's what women want. They want a man with ambition. Why? Because it leads to a future. But if a guy exercises discretion when during sexual selection, it's almost always met with misogyny, sexist, insecure, small dick energy, whatever it is.
It takes away sexual selection. It in some way puts some kind of hindrance on hypergamy, on women's sexual selection. That's why anything that remotely challenges women's complete control over hypergamy, that's why you get that.
Absolutely.
Especially now.
Absolutely. Women do not like to give away their decided advantage in the sexual marketplace. And guys like us that expose these uncomfortable truths always get hit with the arrows and the daggers and everything else like that, because there's nothing more dangerous. And Rollo, me and you've had deep talks about this as well. There is nothing more dangerous than a man that understands his value in the sexual marketplace.
It's a threat.
Nothing more dangerous. And worse yet, that man understands his value and he tells others how to understand their value. That's dangerous, bro.
And
dangerous.
That's why people hate the red pill.
Wants to like argue the point, just say 2 words. 2 words. Show me your phone.
Let's get
forward. Stupid. But the point is that like in her phone
4 words.
has all the answers
Here's
you
your
need to know.
30-second clip.
And as a
people.
result, hey, that's like an English too.
That's why
As
we
a
have Fresh
result,
on the
Clip
show.
that shit.
Now you know
Clip that shit.
what to do. There you go.
Yeah,
Oh
but no,
my
man.
gosh.
I mean, it's just
That'll be the only part that she clips for her next TikTok video, right there.
and here's the thing, guys. On this podcast, we don't tell y'all what to do. We give you guys loose advice, and then you're able to make the best decision based on your situation. But you know, there's just certain things that are low probability wins. Marrying a single mom, probably going to be an L for you. Taking a woman seriously that has a promiscuous past, probably going to be an L for you. Is it possible? Because the girls always love to use the exception. Well, just because she's a hoe doesn't mean she can't change or whatever. Potentially, she might change. But are you going to go ahead and take that crazy risk knowing that you're going to be the one that takes the fall with divorce court, alimony, child support, losing your kids, losing your standing, losing your resources? No, it's not worth it, bro. Because women can sit there from a position of advantage and tell you, go ahead and take a risk or blah, 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 or you should, or they can change or whatever, because they don't take risk. They don't really take risk. And we live in a world now where women don't really have that much biological risk.
They're risk averse because they're the vulnerable sex. Eggs are expensive. Sperm is cheap. Men are the disposable sex. That's why we're built for combat. That's why we're the protectors, the providers, and that's why we have to be convinced to parentally invest in a woman, because it's opportunity cost. If I invest in one woman and my mating strategy is my best mating strategy is unlimited access to unlimited sexuality by me investing in one woman, think of all the opportunities I have that I'm missing because I am with her in a monogamous relationship when I could be spreading my wild oats as a result of that. That's not like every guy can do that. I'm just saying that every guy would, because that's men's innate mating strategy. Unlimited access to unlimited sexuality. It's R selection versus K selection. Women are K selected. They have to invest in offspring. Men are R selected, which is ejaculate and evacuate. And it has been that way for, since we were coming off the sub-Saharan African, savanna back, hundreds of thousands of years ago. We got one last one here, and this will be fast too, because we've already been kind of talking about it.
We are talking about it. So the quick last one here, guys, is why women don't want men to consider sexual past.
We have to
which we discussed a bit.
Okay,
real quick.
Yeah, let's go supers. Yeah.
Okay. Norman Van Christoph. I just had to donate this specific podcast with Rollo Goated Bro Legends, and that's $10. Thank you so much. Anime Red Pill 20 for ages 15 and 25. I'll guess the average for both is easily over 10 in the anecdotal evidence I have. All anecdote. Okay, fair enough. We are not equal. $1, and we are not equal again. 100. Thank you. Myron does not argue. He is doing. All he's doing is explaining why he's right. Okay. Scene 147. Just a sad Viking fan. Have a theory. Is a possible reason why men care about their last names for their children so much is due to the fact that only 40 to 70% of men get their chance to reproduce. It shows a man who has succeeded in his evolution goal. Yes.
Coming up next.
We are not equal again. $5. Who the hell is Genghis Khan? Does he have a Netflix documentary? This guy sounds interesting. And then,
how many followers does he have on TikTok?
There was a show on Netflix called Marco Polo. It kind of showed his lifestyle a little bit, but
Wando, $2. Genghis was conquering people sexually. Cool. Keith Simon, $10. They are sympathetic, not empathetic. They are incapable of putting themselves in other shoes. That's why they always say, "I've never experienced that personally, so it's wrong." Okay. Yep. Okay. So we got $20. Colin Abney. Can you link the male delusion calculator in the description or plug the website? I want to take the test.
Someone put it in the chat already.
Okay. Anthony Graham. How did Lil Durk know?
Sorry.
Oh, God. You always do that, Chris.
Yeah, I know.
How did Lil Durk know his girl had a low body count? He didn't talk about it in an interview, but he just said he knew.
He asked her, and he believed. He believed her.
And then Cigar Man 85, $10. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So now we're gonna get into
last but not least. Here we go. And we've been this has been really the story of the overarching.
You guys like the video, goddammit.
Yes. And this is actually the title of the video, right? Why do women not want men to consider their sexual past? Okay. Very easy. First and foremost, just what this guy was saying just a second ago about our surnames, like how you have all these women who don't want to take their husband's last name unless they're like Eva Mendes when they get with Ryan Gosling. Then she wants to be Eva Gosling because she wants to have his babies, not just babies, his babies, because she's a ride or die girl. Now she's with a high value guy, and suddenly all of her priorities just magically change as a result of this. So, so there's a difference between genuine desire and just sort of like, oh, my biological clock's ticking, so it's time to grab this next dude, and you'll do next on have a baby with me. But there is this hesitancy amongst women right now to take men's last names primarily, and this is me spitballing here, primarily because women are getting with guys who they don't think are their best option. He's not like Superman, right? He's not. Is he the best I can do? If he's not, or if he does, that question isn't answered for a woman in the back of her head, she's less likely, especially if she's narcissistic, she's less likely to want to take that guy's last name. Well, the problem with that is guys give up much too quickly. Yep. What your last name is, guys, is a name, a marker, a title, an icon, whatever, an identifier for your genes.
Bam.
That's what it is. That's why your children will have your last name, or like traditionally speaking, anyways. Your kids are, baby Tomassi. Even Ned is Ned Tomassi. Like you just have that as a marker for what your background is. Okay, that's why kings and powerful men have always been interested in a male heir, because they want to pass on the family name. Absolutely. That's how that works. Okay. So when women say, oh, I don't want to take a man's name because it's a vestige of the patriarchy, or he doesn't own me, blah, blah, blah. What that woman is saying is, I don't want your I don't want your shitty genetics. That's basically what it is. I don't want the name that's attached to your shitty genetics, and I'm not going to take that because I'm hedging my bets, because I'm Eva Mendes, and I might find a Ryan Gosling later on down the road here. So that's part of that. But the sexual past side of all of this is men, like I said before, are interested in paternity. That's why we have our last names. Yep. Our last names are attached to our paternity. We don't want a bastard child, right? Okay. So when we're looking at why does promiscuity matter, we can already see it. I can use the stats there all day long. That should be a reason enough, but it's not. For men want to know that the goddamn kid is their kid. That's why. Yeah. If I'm going to give up, as I was saying before, if I'm a man and my best mating strategy is unlimited access to unlimited sexuality, there is what's called an opportunity cost that goes along with that. So if I'm going to complete a woman's mating strategy, which is I have to parentally invest with her and be daddy, protect her, provide for her, and be parentally invested in her, and I've got to formalize that with marriage or a pair bonding, whatever we're going to fucking call it right now. Yeah. If I'm going to go and do that, there's an opportunity cost that is attached to that, particularly if I'm a high value man. So It means I could be having sex with other women. Like, women don't want a man to cheat, but they love a man who could cheat. So they want to be with that guy who still has that potential. And so if he's that dude and he says, okay, till death do us part, sickness and in health, for richer and for poor, whatever, forsaking all others, if that's the marriage vows and that's the contract and compromise I'm making with you, I've got one fucking stipulation. That kid has to be my goddamn kid. Bam. That's all I'm asking, baby. Don't cuckold me. Yep. That's all I'm saying. And you know what? In the 21st century, the reason why why we're not supposed to care about women's sexual past is because you can't even have that. Yep. You can't even have your last name. Yep. You can't have anything that is a significant, as a genetic marker for your DNA anymore. That's what this comes down to. Men will always be interested in a woman's sexual past, and we will always be jealous of the sexual acts that woman does rather than the emotional side, because women tend to be jealous about emotional investments in infidelity, and men are like, where'd you fuck? Was it in the kitchen? Was it in the bed? How'd you do it? Was you a bigger dick? Blah, blah, blah. All the details, because that guy, through that form of jealousy, is trying to determine, is the baby that comes out of this bitch going to be mine, or is it going to be his? Yep. Did she get off with this guy because she had more fun, or she was more into this alpha guy than me? Or is the baby going to be mine? Is she really into me and it was just an error in judgment or some shit like that? That's why we have a concern about promiscuity. Yeah. That's why we're worried. Like, that's why we say, is it 10? Is it 20? That's why we joke around and say, well, she said she's only had 5 lovers. So triple that, and then you have the truth, right? That's the joke. But in erring on the side of too many, that's what guys are going to do, because they need to sort of resolve that in their hindbrains to say, well, is she a good bet for my paternity? So when we say, okay, well, the difference between men and women, like guys who have sex with a lot of women, they're superheroes, right?
Yes.
It's like the key and the lock scenario, master key and the shitty lock, right? We talk about that all the time. The reason why that's funny is because men and women are different. Okay. We have different priorities, different mating strategies. And so what works for one is a compromise for the other.
Bam.
So if a woman says, okay, honey, I'll be your main and you can go fuck those other chicks, like you can have other girls, but as long as you're emotionally invested in me,
Bam.
I'm going to
That's what they
tolerate
care
that
about.
because you're a high value man. That's what they're concerned about. It's not about the fucking, it's about the investment and the provisioning, protection, and parental investment. And she doesn't want to have a loss of investment because she's not going to be young all her life.
Yep.
And she wants you to formalize that commitment into her own security in the long term. That's why she's interested in the emotional side of things. Men on the opposite side want to determine paternity. It's not rocket science. Yep. Okay. So for men, it's like, did you fuck him or did you not fuck him? That's why we get jealous and we mate guard as that reason. For women mate guard because they want to protect their investment in that guy. So if it's just about you fucking random girls on the weekend and you come home to me and you bring it back to me and you're invested in this family, that's the compromise, yep. Right? Like I said, it's like the cardinal rule of mating strategies. For one sex's mating strategy to be completed, to be optimized, the other one has to either compromise their own or they have to abandon it entirely. Yep. So when as a man, I have my opportunity cost. If I get into a relationship with a woman in marriage, what I'm doing is compromising my ability or my options, assuming I have them, for unlimited access to unlimited sexuality. That's why pornography is a big deal, because it's unlimited access to unlimited sexuality. For women, if they're compromising, it's the same thing. I got to share this high value alpha because as long as he's invested in me and I'm his main, he can have his side pieces. And I'm now compromising as a woman, you will be compromising your innate sexual strategy, your best interests in that, to allow him to pursue his. So that's the payoff. It used to be in marriage prior to the sexual revolution, both of those were balanced. Yeah. So the guy's like, okay, I'm going to forsake all others. Great. Okay, what's the deal? Okay, I'm going to have your kids, exclusively only your children. Got it? Good. Great. We're going to have a life together. Yep. That was basically the marriage contract in a
middle
nutshell.
ground and kind of both shot themselves in the foot
because it's a balance of a compromise between mating strategies between the two of them. Now, if we say, well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Men and women are just blank slate equals. And if men can go out and fuck whoever they want to fuck randomly, wantonly, and they go, clearly they get it all the time, right? Because the guys that I want to fuck, they're fucking other women all the time, right? Yep. Apex fallacy, right? So if that's the case, then shouldn't it be fair and even, Steven, that, blank slate equalism, that I, as a woman, should be able to go out and fuck whoever I want to fuck? No, because as we've seen from the beginning of this show, there are consequences and there are liabilities that are attached to it because you have a vagina, because you have a uterus, because you are evolved from human females and he is evolved from human males. Mm-hmm. We are different. Yeah. Accept that. Fucking accept that, please, because at the moment, every time we come and we have these conflicts between men and women, particularly when it comes to double standards, it's always because that woman thinks we should be the same. We're just blank slate equals, and it's all social constructionism, and they rely on the social constructionist side of things because they think that it's a balancing act. I think it's what's good for the goose is good for the gander. No. Equal and opposite reactions. No, it's not fucking karma. I'm a man, you're a woman, and that's how it works. Sometimes it sucks to be a woman. Sometimes it sucks to be a guy. Sometimes it's great to be a woman. Sometimes it's great to be a guy. It just depends on the context and what the challenges are that we are talking about. So when women have decided that promiscuity is going to be something that they're going to pursue because they want to be able to get to the top, they want the high value alpha because they got no use for the beta males anymore. Mm-hmm. So what that necessitates is that those beta males, as I was saying before, the 80%ers, they're not judgmental, that they don't judge them for trying to consolidate and lock down the high value alpha while they had their best opportunity to do so between 18 and 28 years old, when they're at the hottest they can be and they really want to fuck, and they're like the 19-year-old girl here with 15 body count. We're not supposed to judge her, because if we judge her, then that means all the rest of these girls are going to get judged along with that. but it also puts the guys who are the 80%ers who would otherwise maybe want to wife her up at 20. She's 19 now, at 29, right? 10 years later, those guys, if they're judgmental, they won't be there waiting for her when she jumps off the carousel. They won't be there when she tries to stick the landing with one of these guys. And as you were saying before, that's why the red pill is so hated. It gives away the game that the 18, 19-year-old girl is playing and wants to optimize up to the point where she gets to be about 29 years old. So you've got that working for you. So, and the last but not least is the digital footprint. Okay. Instagram, YouTube, certainly OnlyFans. Now I'm going to throw this one out there because you guys just had her on this show. Celina Powell. She's trying to erase her digital footprint from OnlyFans because she doesn't want mom and dad to see her ass naked on, or, you know, her butthole, whatever, on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And she's going to
have a family.
Great efforts and great links to try to have that erased. Now, that's Celina Powell. Okay. Think of all the hundreds of thousands, if not millions and millions of girls who have a digital footprint, even if it's just, you know, the girl living it up on spring break in Cancun in the foam cannon party, nothing sexual. She's just with other guys.
Yeah. That's
a liability for her. So if any guy who wants to wife her up at 30 sees what she was doing at 21 and living the crazy life, and oh, that's the guy she's pining for, and she's an alpha widow for that guy, I don't want to have anything to do with her. Well, that puts a hindrance on her completing her mating strategy.
Absolutely.
And that's so women cannot get away from their digital footprint now. And they know this shit. Every girl that comes on this show, everyone knows this shit. That's why Celina Powell wants to erase herself from OnlyFans, because she knows she's not getting any younger. And by the time she gets to 30, the odds of her finding a guy as a long-term mate go down and down and down. Why? Because you had OnlyFans when you were 22. I don't want to get with that. And even if it's just like, even if I can't get over it from like a headspace, I still, from an evolutionary perspective, I want to know that the kid is mine.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing about like sluts and slut shaming and everything else. So when like this girl here is talking about like, don't be judgmental, what she's saying is men don't have the right to call me a slut.
Exactly.
And really, as far as a social situation is concerned, I don't have to, because your Instagram shows me that, or it shows my hindbrain and my subconscious that. You're on OnlyFans? Well, you're a bad bet for the kid being my kid. And that's the number one thing.
The judgmental thing you said, right? Perfect. Literally, what, a week and a half ago? We had this girl on. She kept saying, well, listen, I understand, hoes aren't cool and everything like that, but don't call them hoes. Don't be judgmental.
They're trying to normalize
be able to do what they want to do.
They're trying to normalize promiscuity.
Then she goes in the same fucking breath, well, I'm not a hoe, though. I understand that that's not cool, and I don't do it, but you shouldn't shame girls that do it. Then in the next sentence, but if a guy's a bum, he chose that, he deserves to be made fun of. It is not okay to put standards on women, but it is 100% acceptable for women to put standards on men, and that was probably one of the best embodiments I got. I want you guys to go ahead and look at the clip where we talked about it. This girl literally was saying you cannot judge women for being hoes. I understand they are hoes, but you shouldn't tell them that they're hoes. That's fucked up. But in the same sentence, if you're a bum and you're a guy, you chose to be a bum, so you should be held accountable for it. Clown world.
In the social, go ahead.
Rollo brought up a very good point. You said earlier, women want to be men. They feel like they should have the same fair advantage as men.
They become the men they want to marry.
And if you go back in time, I don't know if you believe in the Bible or not, Adam and Eve were in the garden, right? And Adam,
don't make me say the story again.
No, but Adam was told not to eat from the fruit because it would cause destruction and chaos, right? So he knew, don't eat the fruit. However, Eve, made from Adam, says, hey, you know what? Adam has all this power and respect and authority, but guess what? I can make a choice too. And to be fair, I feel like I should be able to make that choice for Adam. So I'll eat the fruit. And as you know, the world has come to be what it is now. That being said, regarding the same argument, if they want to feel like being men, they'll do whatever it takes to become men. And as a result, their feelings,
they lead with emotion.
It started from feelings.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It feels before reels. That's
but
why
I just had to throw that in there because literally, like last week, bro, we had this girl come in and really say in one sentence, I'm not a hoe.
I remember her.
I got a boyfriend, whatever. I did my thing when I was young, but I withheld being a hoe. But you should not judge women that decide that they want to be hoes because that's fucked up.
And fun fact, she was at the club the same night. doing the same thing she said that she doesn't do. Which is funny. They'll come on the show like, oh, I'm an angel. I'm a virgin.
Well, the reason why she's saying that, and the reason why that sounds like cognitive dissonance, and it is, the reason why it is because we're trying in a gynocentric social order where women cannot get away from their digital footprint. When those, like, imagine you're like, my daughter's 23, when she's like 43, and there's still images online of her on Instagram or whatever, or, you know, the girl is like later on in life and she's trying to get away from that. I'm trying to like avoid my past, or I'm trying to, like Celina Powell, for instance, I want to get away from that because any guy in the future, I don't want him, like the guys who might commit to me in a long-term security arrangement, she knows on some level of consciousness that that's going to put her at a disadvantage. Same thing with a single mommy. Why do guys have an aversion or, you know, an innate hesitancy with single mommies? It's not because society and guys like us are telling them not to do that. It's because that's a natural, innate hesitancy in men's psyches.
We just remind them
because we don't have to guess.
Yeah,
the kid's not mine. It's right there. I can see the kid's not my fucking kid.
Yep.
So I'm doing you the favor by investing and putting my time, my resources, my provisioning, protection, and parental investment into a kid who is not going to carry my genes into perpetuity.
Damn.
How do you convince generations of men to sign up for that? Convince them that it shouldn't matter.
Bam.
Convince them, BluePill conditioned them to believe that they're noble and they're superheroes if they become the stepdad. Cuckold yourself. Give up your genetic imperative and gaslight yourself to complete my mating strategy with this guy's kid who who was the alpha that I banged while I was still 22, 23. And now that I'm 33 and you come in, I need you because you've got benefits that this guy never had and I was never going to be able to lock that guy down. How do you convince a generation of guys to sign up for that? Tell them that promiscuity doesn't matter. Yep. That's why I said this is a much bigger conversation than just, oh, you're judgmental because you think that a woman's sexual past matters. No. Society and Western fucking civilization depends on that dynamic going on. You want to know why marriage rates are in the shitter? Why guys don't want to have a natural innate hesitancy to get with single moms? Why that women want to erase their sexual past? It's all comes down to that one thing. We want to talk like name the social, the intergender, intersexual social issue or conflict that's going on right now, and I can draw it all the way back to hypergamy and to your innate evolved natures as men and women. So when we want to normalize those things and we want to say, you guys shouldn't think that way, think this way, because if you think this way that it will benefit my mating strategy, of course in a gynocentric social order they have no reason or no incentive to not hoe it up. The hoe phase exists because it's normalized. I'm going to have a great hoe phase. Yeah. Now, does that mean all women are going to be like, sign on with that? No, but the dynamic still exists. So that's why I want to get at. So here's the other thing is that last but not least, we could have avoided this entire conversation with one question. Mm-hmm. You know what that question is? Like when we're talking about slut shaming, like what's throw
it on us.
Yeah. Okay.
So what's the question?
Pause. Do I have to pause?
No.
Oh, I got to pause. Oh. Pregnant pause. Here we go. Here's the question that we could have avoided all of this with. Okay. So when Drew Afalo is talking about, men are, pair bonding and you don't have the stats and you don't have any of this stuff. Really what it's coming down to is like, she's trying to shame those 80%, beta males who are waiting outside the club, hating from outside the club, trying to shame them for slut shaming women.
Yeah.
That's why women, like, what do they resort to when you say, you know what, I kind of have a problem with female promiscuity, and maybe it doesn't have anything to do with stats, although those are there too. But here's why I don't want to get with a girl who's ran through. And you can make that very personal, religious, whatever, however you want to. But what she will resort to, and what most women resort to, is they'll say, well, you're slut shaming. That's part of the judgmental stuff. You're judging me and you're calling me a slut, right? Okay. Well, if that's the case, okay, why do women slut shame each other more than men do if sexual history doesn't matter?
Boom.
Why would they default to slut shaming themselves if promiscuity wasn't something that we should even have any concern with? Or men shouldn't have a concern with it, but women can slut shame each other to disqualify one another from the sexual marketplace And that's supposed to like, oh, she looks like only a slut would wear that, that kind of stuff where it's like slut shaming between women. Why is that the default if promiscuity and a woman's sexual past doesn't matter? Answer me that, Drew. There's your question for the and
Gotcha, bitch.
Your take home question, Drew. If slut shaming only matters for guys, then why doesn't exist or whatever, or promiscuity and a woman's sexual past should be irrelevant? Then why do women slut shame each other to disqualify other women from the sexual marketplace? Simple as that. That's why I didn't say that at the beginning, because we'd just walk.
Yeah, I mean, but that is true, man. It
is, and it does matter. And there's no getting around it. And women know that too. That's why they don't want you to talk about it. That's why they don't want this show to be published.
Okay.
They want to be able to hold the monopoly on who slut shames who, not men. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? They want to be the ones to be able to cast that vote or cast that judgment. Because if you let two girls talk shit to each other, more than likely what's going to happen, the first insult is you're a fucking slut. You know what I mean? Men shame each other for inadequacies and ineptitude. Women shame each other for lack of ability to, get the best guy and or lock him down and or being promiscuous.
Well, they want to disqualify that woman from the sexual marketplace. How do they do that? She's a slut. What does that mean? You know what that means? She's not a good candidate for a woman who would have your kids. She's not a good candidate for your paternity. You like that? You like a girl who wears that dress and she's slutty and skanky and she acts like that and talks like that? You really like that? That's another way women shame men. Really, it's kind of like, it's like third party slut shaming. Yeah. But what is it? It's intrasexual combat.
Yes.
And so when a woman walks in in a red dress and all the girls are like, what's she wearing? Only a slut would wear that, right? Yep. Like that's disqualifying her from the consideration of any guy that's within earshot, right? To say she's a bad bet for your paternity. If that's the case, why is that the reflex amongst women?
Here's a new one in 2022. Oh my God, her pussy stank. You know what that means? Who wants to go down there? But yeah.
First, all show, you've been speaking facts, but I really can't take it seriously when you're holding juicy juice in your hand.
Yes.
All right, let me, I'll read the chats real quick. All right, only 12, got 12% on the reality calculator because I don't want fat chicks, okay? And that's from Crypto Motivation. Yves Simonis, with World War III on the horizon in an anti-family environment, is family even a realistic, viable option? And the West is going to be tough. Captain
yes,
Crunch,
but it will be redefined.
Sorry, Bass, Chris, I like it on my way in, always, okay? $5. Myron, you've got to accept thinning hair and move past it. Avoiding the issue will make your self-confidence suffer. Shave
should
it.
Grow it out like mine.
And that's Lena.
You should get a greasy ponytail.
Yeah, I'm actually going to get a ponytail. Chemo, $5. Women and men that agree with women want to operate on how things should be to them. They don't understand the world works on how things are first. Yes. Celina Powell can erase the digital footprint on the internet, but she can't erase the BBC print inside of her. Right, Fresh? And that's $5 from Cigar Man.
The wrong Fresh,
mushroom print on our forehead.
It's the wrong Fresh, my friend. It wasn't me.
Jackson, $20. They will say women slut shame each other because of internalized misogyny. Exactly. Yep. They'll say that. Lerp D Derp. We're the first generation of a society to reproduce with the invention of the internet. At the same time, marriage and birth rates are declining. Yeah, man. I mean, like I said before, bro,
say it.
Speak. Women just don't like to operate in reality, bro. That's what it all comes down to. They will sit there and female promiscuity doesn't matter, and I'm gonna manifest it, whatever. That's why there's all these convenient conventions for women to believe in to kind of perpetrate and or reinforce their bad decisions. I'm a Scorpio, so I just act this way, or I'm spiritual and whatever. They do not like to operate on what is. They operate on what could, should, would, and always exceptions to the rule. That's the argument.
Welcome to Member Destiny.
Hey, what's up, Destiny? Welcome.
Hey there.
All right, she became a member.
All right, cool.
I wonder why.
Stripper name.
Well, she is supposed to podcast.
All right, guys, we got another show with some girls later on.
They're waiting.
And Rollo has a NFT project.
Yeah, I have an NFT project that I'm working on with Kevin Savo and his brother Rocky Savo. If you've seen my Wednesday shows over the course of the last 2 weeks, we've done shows, just quick hit shows on Wednesdays with the boys, and also Charlie from Cultivate Crypto was on with me on Wednesday last week. Do you have the video queued up?
Yeah,
Chris, if you can just drop that real quick. I'll just real quick. The reason why we're doing this is sort of in an answer and in response to World of Women, which is the #1 NFT for like feminists. I think Reese Witherspoon is behind it. Logan Paul bought like $800,000 in ether, I guess, in that. And really what it is an NFT that's set up to sort of fund feminist projects. And so Rocky and Kevin and myself, we said, hey, why don't we put together an NFT that is sort of like the counter to that, the red pill version of that.
All right.
And guys, also do me
My
you guys in here, go ahead and like the video, please. Okay, because we need to get up to at least 4,000 plus likes. Get the engagement up, guys. Do us a solid because we gave y'all a lot of sauce right now. Studies in the description, and the link is below as well. This is redpilllions.com.
Red Pill Lions is the name of the NFT.
All right, let's throw it.
Philosophy when it comes to money is that money is really just a currency, right? That's why I call it currency, and it's like an electrical current. What are you going to do with this current? And that's really the utility in a NFT. It is an NFT with an intent and a purpose behind it.
The lion is a symbol of the masculine frame. There's nothing silly in their facial expressions.
The symbolism of frame, the symbolism of game, the symbolism of masculinity. We intend to show the world these things still have value, literally.
There's a bunch of different reasons to buy NFTs. When I get an NFT, I want to look for utility.
So if you are a holder, we're going to fly some members out to hang out with us in Miami.
And they want something in their hand. They don't want just virtual currencies.
I want to show that I'm supporting the community first and foremost. But in 5-10 years, when not only crypto is mainstream, but NFTs are mainstream, and the red pill is maybe a little bit more mainstream as well. You know, it's like any form of collectibles. It's like, you know, if you go to Pokemon, right? Pokemon back in the day, a rare Charizard, right? Somebody might give you a few pogs for it back on the playground. But nowadays they'll give you a few $1,000, right? Or tens of thousands of dollars for that just because it has sentimental value as well.
We'll be dropping it on May 1st. We push it back 1 month because we've had such an overwhelming response for it. We're on Discord. The Discord link is in the description. We're on Twitter as well, and then of course the website is redpilllions.com.
Yeah, check it out, guys. We got some ladies that are, I think, just pulled up.
No,
guys, go ahead and like the video, and we'll catch you guys back here in a little bit with some lovely ladies.
Peace.